We'll see. We'll see, won't we? We'll find out. I'm going to plug this phone in. Oh, no. There. Hi, Crimson. Hi, Rose. Hi, everybody. Is this mic gonna fuck? I'm gonna fuck with this mic the entire time because it's like right on the collar. I don't know. I wore my Cthulhu shirt. It seemed appropriate for the content. I did not set this up at all. No, too far. It's like several feet away. I don't. Hey, what is up? Insomniac is here. Sweet. How many we got? Oh man, there's already. Are all of you already here? Swiftled's here. Good. Y'all were prompt. I can't even see your username from here, so that's cool. Me and Dad got boba tea. Dad's here. Yeah, so far away. He's on the complete opposite end of this couch. That's totally fine. I'm gonna fix this. Just because I hate the actual back of this futon.
That's I
hate it. So I gotta... Everybody's like, hi, Dad. Sound off in chat. Yeah, Dad's here. Because we got a giant package, and apparently it has stuff for Dad in here. This has been the talk of the household for like 2 days. Mm-hmm. So,
what's in the box?
Everybody wants to know what the fuck is in the box.
That was nice.
And I don't know everything that's in the box. I know this is from Lady Eva, because Lady Eva keeps sending me coffee. So we're going to open that one first, because I know what it is, and I won't be startled. Oh, thank you. Finger.
I mean...
You're like holding out a pocket knife, and I'm just like...
Not just any pocket knife, an old-timer pocket knife. Because I'm an old-timer.
You're just like, I got it. And I'm like, I was already prepared.
Didn't realize those were scissors.
Yeah. They're a little long for this box. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
But I haven't opened any of the boxes. I picked them up from the post office, which was jarring anyway. Namely because I had to pick it up at the counter because it was too big and it didn't fit. And maybe that's just because it was the exact dimension. If they really wanted to squeeze it in there, it was going to dent the box. Maybe that's why they didn't. I don't know. Oh, sweet.
Oh, it smells amazing already.
Yeah, you can smell it through the bag. I can smell it through the bag. You can't smell this, but it smells amazing just now. But yeah, let's see. Let's read the thingy. 3 Latin American coffees in this carefully crafted blend were selected for their balance and brightness, and the roast fine-tuned to brew the perfect medium-bodied cup. We decided to name it after our third cafe, opened in 1980 on Domingo Avenue in Berkeley in the shadow of the Claremont Hotel. For decades, Pete's regulars have gathered there to enjoy handcrafted drinks and the camaraderie they inspire, and that's something worth commemorating. I got a whole bag here. I got a whole other bag of coffee that was also late. So, I now have 2 whole bags of coffee. Which is good, because I'm running out of the, I only have half a bag, which is not a lot for me, of the coffee that Swiftblood got me. So, and I completely finished off the house blend. The house blend's gone. All I have is the pumpkin and the, Bushwhacker. Sorry, the only B word I could think of was Berkeley, and that was not correct. And that's only because I just read it. So I was like, that's not right. That's the only B word I can think of. It smells good.
So good.
Dad's over here shoving his whole face in the top of this unopened bag of coffee.
Right at the
So that he can smell it. It smells really good, to be clear. That all of the bags that I've gotten from them have smelled amazing. And they taste really good as espresso. I've been making them all as espresso, not gonna lie. It's also just because I like strong coffee.
I have pizza.
We might, if you end up hanging out for a while afterward, we can make some. We can make some coffee, because I had to go into a Walmart. Normally I don't have to go. Sarah goes. Mm-hmm. I pay Sarah for the luxury of never having to go into a Walmart. And I forgot that we needed coffee filters until I woke up this morning and I was like, oh.
And your coffee pot uses different filters than
There's
mine.
two. There's 2 coffee filters. And that's not going to get me through the week. So I had to walk into a Walmart. Like this. Anyway, it was unfortunate. And we're gonna open this big boy, a little... Yeah, just lean back.
That got a little close.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a big box. I'm gonna set it on the ground. Can I set it? Is there enough space? I don't even know if... I'm sorry. This is a big box. I'm gonna set it on the ground. Can I set it? Is there enough space? Cut away from me. Come on, get in there. Oh, jeez. And this is like a community package. I believe like about 4 of you were responsible for this.
Yeah, you gremlins.
To get... It's half and part Swiftblood, maybe Rose, and I believe Crimson were all together and did all this. You didn't cut the very tip. Here, get that one last bit. There you go.
Helped.
Cut across almost all of it.
Packing material. That's what I always wanted.
Dad really loves his packing material, guys. He's very happy with it. So thank you very much for the packing material. Dad loved it. There's like a giant bag in here. I'm not totally sure how to... Is this all one bit? Oh, God.
So I guess that one's you.
Well, this one has my name on it, so...
Oh, and this one's mine.
Does that one have your name on it? Does it say Dad?
No, it says Chris.
Oh.
It doesn't say Dad.
I was going to say, I kind of hoped it would say Dad. We had to clear this box out for Pond when she inevitably invades here. And so she has something to lay in. So I'm going to get this excess material out so that we can make sure Pond has laying room. Because, by God, if there's a box that big, there's no way we're keeping the cat out of it.
Right.
This is a large bag.
Very large.
What's in yours? I want to know what's in yours
What's
first.
in mine?
Dad's going to open his first. We're going to take turns.
So, got Kahlua coffee. And then...
You can move this.
I don't move other people's stuff. So, Bushwhacker, which is... You can't really see it. There you go. Of course. So, that's definitely...
Is all this coffee?
I knew there was going to be coffee in there.
I get a whole bunch of coffee.
And then, the Saucy Wench hot sauce.
Nice.
Tiki Torture Coconut Ghost hot sauce. I low-key want to try it right now and see See how bad I hurt myself. Let's see. I'm waiting for Jen to say something about it. To, like, don't do it, or you know.
Jen's not going to tell you not to do that. You know how Jen is with hot sauce?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Oh god, it's a dad-themed mug. Alright. I keep all my dad jokes in a database. Yeah, no, that's a win. That's a fucking win. Oh, that's my new coffee mug now. You guys make me all blush.
It's the mid-level spice, Swiftblood says.
Mid-level?
Authoritatively.
Alright. So as I can figure out how to open the damn thing. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Thorny, pick the sauce.
Alright. Let's see. Shake well.
I am hoping I can read these comments right. It's facing away from me now, so it's harder to see. You gonna check it? You gonna try it?
Mm.
Dad. There just ain't no impressing Dad, guys.
I mean, the longer it sits on the tongue, the more spicy it gets. It's okay. There it is. That's a little hot.
Oh, did you hurt yourself?
No, that's a little hot. You want to try it, or are you
I'll
trying
try.
spicy things?
I'll try it. We're gonna do it's a hot sauce challenge. All of a sudden, the live has been circumvented by a hot sauce challenge. Hold on, we gotta take a break. This sauce, okay.
That's
Tiki Torture Coconut Ghost Hot Sauce.
Yeah.
Alright. Get on my finger. Okay. Different.
It's not bad.
No, it's not.
It's
You could definitely put this on some wings, man.
hell yeah. I work at a chicken joint.
Habanero and ghost chilies create a mountain of heat with sweetness on the side and savory deliciousness on the other. I wouldn't say it's 15 out of 10.
Nah.
That's what it says on the bottle, and I'm like, don't give yourself airs. I'm sorry, you okay?
I almost shot that out my nose.
Oh, man, here you go.
That would have been painful.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so.
It's 10 out of 10 compared to that horrible habanero beer.
Oh my god, that beer! I had such high hopes for that beer.
That was so bad.
We me and Sarah got a habanero beer not too long ago because it was like kitschy and we wanted to try it. You could not drink that stuff. It just it just doesn't work well as a beer. I was like, if this was a hot sauce, this would be amazing. As a beer, it's trash. And so we ended up reducing it and putting it on wings.
Mm-hmm. But it tastes fantastic. Oh. Some bubble wrap.
Are you going to have fun with some bubble wrap?
Yeah. I may be dead, but I'm also a child.
Did you get everything out of yours? I want to try this Kahlua when we have the time.
Yeah.
We might have to have like a little mini coffee party after this is over. We make a bunch of espresso shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
I can use my new mug.
Yes. We can give Dad an excuse to use this new Dad mug. All right. I'm going to open mine.
Put that away.
I'm assuming coffee. There's coffee.
Surprise. Was that
Of course they had
Jamaican
one.
me crazy?
Jamaican me crazy. Who? I wanna smell it. I wanna. Should I? No, I shouldn't. I'm gonna. I wanna smell it.
Decision made.
I wanna smell it. I like smelling the coffee. I have so much coffee in this bag from what I can tell from the contents. Let me get in there. My fingernail is like just on the edge of it. There we go. Ooh. Ooh. I bet this would be really good if we mixed it with the Kahlua, just based on smell. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. Here, let's open it. Let's open it. Sorry, we're really excited about coffee. We get too excited about coffee.
Ooh.
Swap. Just gonna swap smell coffee.
Oh, that would be fantastic together.
Yeah, I can already tell just based on smell. I was like, and what I know of Kahlua, taste profile, if it's like Kahlua, that's gonna work well with that.
You might be making our own half and half blend out of this.
Yeah, boy. Oh. Sorry, me and Dad are really excited about coffee. What's my favorite animal? I like cats a lot. Cats are my favorite animal. It's hands down cats. All the cats. I love cats.
Always cats.
Especially my cat. My cat is the best cat. Also, Insomniac's cat. Insomniac's cat is an angel, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Insomniac, I hope your cat is listening. If Lucifer is there, tell Lucy I said hi. Oh yeah, it started raining. Was it still raining when you were outside?
Yeah, it was sprinkling.
Okay. I think the most of it was, but it started raining here earlier. Coffee. Breakfast blend. Yes, I love me a good breakfast blend. And let's see. And more Bushwhacker. Sorry. I really have been kind of afraid to use so much of Bushwhacker because I know I'm going to run out and that's my favorite one. And I always save my favorite thing for like the last thing. Like, that sort of person. So I've been like really milking Bushwhacker for all it's worth. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about Bushwhacker. The only thing that's kept me not from weirdly doing like a pseudo prepper of coffee is just is knowing that Lady Aoife just got me a subscription, so I'm gonna get more of that. So I'm like, okay, sweet, I can burn through this if I want because there's gonna be another bag coming, and I'm a psycho. Otherwise, I'm like, I can never drink this because I might run out sometime in the late future. I know it's gonna be ages before I run out, but I'm still terrified of it. There is a bag. It's a bag.
Bag of what?
It's just a bag. It's a bag. I think this used to be a wood bag. I'm not sure what's in here. I'm afraid to open it. It's sarin gas. We're all gonna know. Why am I so paranoid? I see an empty bag in here, and instead of being like, oh, extra padding between what I presume is a breakable coffee mug, instead I'm like, no, there's sarin gas in here. We're going full cult. Which one of you is an Om Shinrikyo member? Nobody answer that. Nobody answer that. It's gone completely off the rails. I'm sorry I insinuated that you may be a part of a popular cult that is now defunct that used to deliver sarin gas into railway stations. Very sorry about that. I don't mean it. I just get paranoid. I see an empty bag and I think there's sarin gas in here. How? It would have been almost impossible for you to produce sarin gas and put it in a plastic bag. They were killing off each other with that shit, even with laboratories trying to make it. I don't know why my first thought is sarin gas.
Paranoid, that's the thing.
You know what? This live's over. You guys have a nice night. I'm joking, I'm not. I'm not going to cancel it. Just everybody forget that I said that. And there's a coffee mug in here, and I fucking love coffee mugs, and that's probably what that empty bag is for extra cushion between all the shit in the obviously breakable mug that is covered in bubble wrap. I had to pop one. I was struggling and I needed some de-stress time. This is taped up real well.
It's off camera, so it's okay.
Yeah, nobody let TikTok see us like sharp objects. What's my favorite color? I like black and gray and purple. I like yellow and green and red. I'd love to stay and chat, but I'm lying.
I feel like you just got called out.
Accurate. This is now my new favorite month. I am lying. Thank you. You definitely have to drink coffee after this.
Yep.
I love it. That's awesome. That's the best mug. What is this? What is this?
I don't know.
A little baggie of some stuff. This,
That looks like a little bat.
it does look like a little bat. It's a little bow. Weird bat bow. Well, that makes sense.
Looks like a bat. Looks like a bow. It's a bat bow.
It's a little bat bow. It looks like a little bat. Oh man, I wonder if I can get this on Bella without her like biting the shit out of me. Well, that's my first thought is like, oh, cute bow. Let's put it on the cat. This is probably for me. I'm just like, let's put it on the cat. She's not gonna let me put a bow on her.
She's gonna murder you.
Pond, maybe, with some coercion and some food to distract her.
Always food.
Bella will beat the shit out of me. Low-key, I tried to film a video earlier of the rap, my money doesn't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I tried to do that with Bella. She was not about it. We had to shoot that like 3 times because I couldn't do it with Pond because she doesn't fold. Get it? You can't fold her.
She just curls.
Oh. I really want to put it on the cat. I know it's probably like, it'll be a great bow tie, especially like for Horst and Johannes. That would be really cool to do.
Mm-hmm.
Make Nodi wear it. Be really cool. Because Nodi's horse. But I'm also like, let's see if I can get it on a cat. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm not gonna let you put a bat bow on him. It's so cute. Thank you. Okay, sorry. But she would look.
For your enjoyment.
She would look really cute in it, though. She would look really cute in it. And there's a bag. Ooh, it's a necklace. I got a necklace. It's a. What's in here? I can't. These little teeny tiny bones. Tiny bones? Oh, they look like little bitty, like teeth almost. I can't tell.
Bones.
Yeah. I'm trying to see them in the light, but the ring light's not that bright, and I can't have any other light in here that throws off the whole live. Bone necklace. Bones. See if you can see it, because that's the only other light I can have, and it's closer to you. There's like a lamp by Dad.
Like a canine in there and
Tiny bones.
It looks like teeth for bones.
Oh, there's little pins in here. They're little wood pins. Yeah. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
They're box bones.
Are they?
Yeah. Especially with what I told you earlier today.
Oh no.
That's just fantastic.
Oh no. That's terrible. Okay, it's great, but it's terrible. It's just a terrible story. But it's a great gift for personal reasons. And I'm a hybrid. I run on books and coffee, which is accurate. I'm running out of space on my hat. I keep getting pins, and I keep putting them on my hat, and I'm running out of space on my hat, so I'm gonna have to get a new hat and put pins on that hat. And then I got a little pooch, and I'm gonna save it. I don't know why I called it that. That's what someone else calls it. And then I got... It's purple. I'm not a furry. Now, the thing is, though, is that this is cool. There's a little chain.
There you go.
So, my... He put the bow on. Dad put on the bow. You want to see Dad wearing a bow? Dad put on the bow. I'm not going to let the cats near it. They'll eat it. Well, Pond will. Pond likes hair. Pond likes fur and hair and likes to eat everyone's hair. So I'm going to have to hide this. Oh no, I could put it on the back of the door. She won't be able to reach it. She won't be able to reach it. Low-key, okay, so hear me out. So like, my favorite Pokemon is Purloin. Yeah, there you go. See, you're getting it. You're getting it. I might do a weird Pokemon cosplay for no reason, just because I got this tail. Because it's soft. It is really soft. Touch it.
Ooh.
It's soft. Thank you. Purloin's my favorite Pokemon. There's so much stuff in this package.
I think if it's done correctly, the bones should still be in there. The actual bones. Like if this is a real animal tail, the bones will still be in there.
I don't know if they are real. Are they real? They're not real. Are they? Are they? It's really soft.
Let me smell it. I'll tell you if it's real.
Wait, don't smell it. Oh, that's...
It's awkward, I know, but I've tanned to hide before. Do you want to know, or yes or no?
It's real, apparently. Give it back. You don't have to shove your face in. Just keep shoving your face in things today. I'm just saying you don't have to. It's soft. It's really soft. Now it's like a threat. Because it's real. Sorry. I don't... Disregard that. I don't... I like it. I have ideas for this. Wait. And it has a little chain. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm fiddling with it. Oh no. I can't get the thing to separate. I always have trouble with these. There we go. Okay. You want to put the tail on too, or you? No,
I'm good. I like the bow.
You're gonna keep the bow on the entire time?
Probably.
He says. He's gonna keep the bow on. I have so much stuff over here. I'm very disorganized now because there's stuff on the every place. Thank you very much for all the things. And I'm looking forward to all the coffee we're gonna try after this. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds awesome. I want to put my bones on. I want to put my bones on.
I don't want to put the tail on because then
you don't have to put the tail on. You don't have to put the tail on.
Aoife told me I should put it on. I don't want to. Oh, come on, Dad. It'd be awesome.
He doesn't have to do it. It's not a requirement. He doesn't have to wear tails if he doesn't want to. Quit pressuring people to be furries. I think we need to talk about this, and people just keep pressuring other people to be furries, and it's not cool. No, I don't know anybody that's doing that. That was a joke. I like bones. I want to wear my bone necklace.
Hell yeah.
I like bones. Thank you for my bones and all the coffee. I like it. It's fun. It's fun stuff. You okay?
Yeah, no, I was just reading comments.
Are they upsetting? I can't see.
No. No.
You're too far away. Please, Lady Eva.
It is not an enthusiastic yes. So therefore it's a no.
Therefore it's a no. Tail. It is really soft. I'll say that. I like it. I'm gonna see if I can hang it right here. Oh, no, it's fucking up the camera. Never mind. Fuck that. We can't have it interfering with the camera quality. Ah, shit. I'm going to try and organize this space that has now been consumed. I'm gonna put this back in the pouch so I don't lose it, because I'm gonna put those on my hat. Put that in the coffee mug. And put the bag of sarin gas in there. Doesn't have sarin gas in it. I gotta quit saying that. I'm gonna get banned. Does it TikTok have any do you think? Oh yeah, no, I shouldn't be saying that. Well, because there's that guy that talks about serial killers all the time. He never gets banned.
Yep.
So I think we're fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. I'm going to put all this coffee in the smaller box. Just side by side. Consolidate the space. That way the coffee is all together. So I'm not like, yo, where'd that coffee go? That one's unopened, so it should be fine. And then put that over there. Don't put it in the box, though, because if Pawn breaks in here, she's gonna be mad.
Why not? I was putting the packaging, the rest of the packaging in the bag.
Thank you for all of the stuff. I know you guys had like a real weird road trip sort of deal. I don't know all the details, but I do know there was absinthe involved and a lot of shenanigans. What are you brandishing? Are you brandishing it at me, or are you?
Like it is I can fit my large hand in there. That's a happy thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so you can see, a whole hand, comfy, happy.
Yeah, it's a big mug.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of it. I can't wait to try all the coffee. Because I haven't had that other one, so I want to try it.
I've had Bushwhacker, but I never had the other one. So.
I want to try the Jamaican one. I also want to try the Kahlua one, and we mix the Kahlua.
We gotta try them separate first.
Yeah, well, obviously, that's what I'm saying. We should do like a flight, like they do with.
A flight of coffee, espressos.
Yes. That is the weirdest thing I've ever said. We should have a flight of coffee, like people do with beer, and I'm like, let's make a flight of coffee. Like that's not gonna fuck my day up later. I don't care. You have the description of the Jamaican one in the Discord, apparently.
I believe so. I'm allowed to do that. That's fine.
We're gonna see.
Pink.
We're gonna see what's up.
Butter, rum, white chocolate, macadamia nut.
Okay, but that sounds really good.
Breakfast blend is light to medium roast, sure to open your eyes and get you going on those early or late mornings.
I like a good breakfast blend. Yeah, that's essentially what we're going to do. We're going to make a flight of coffee. Just like... Shh.
Worth it.
I don't know I get a bunch of coffee and I'm like, we're going to do a flight. I saw the shark. I did see the shark in the Discord the other day, and I was like, oh, because someone said the same thing, like, oh, he a long boy, or something like that, and I was like, shark. It's a shark. I know a shark when I see it. I've jumped, I've landed, it's a shark, baby. Anybody else watch? Anyway, whatever. It's fine if you don't get the reference. They do flights of coffee up here in Seattle. Well, shit. That makes me feel a little bit better about it because they don't do that shit here. They don't do that shit around these parts. They just do beer. We're lamer.
A little bit.
A lot. Way more than a little. We're so much lamer. I want to go to Seattle, do a flight of coffee. What?
Lucy stretched her paw towards the phone when you said hi.
Yay! Hi, Lucy. Lucy's the best cat. I love that cat. I'm a huge fan of that cat. Tell that cat I'm a huge fan. They do flights of coffee with smoothie chase. What? With smoothie chase? What kind of smoothie?
Weird.
No. I'm going to opt out of that one. I need less smoothies in my life. And I say that at a detrimental low of 0 smoothies. Wait, yeah, smoothie? Because you didn't put it in quotations, but you did have a capital S, so smoothie. Okay, that seems better somehow. What kind of smoothie? Anyway, never mind, forget it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You could tell me later in the secret place, in the secret place where we all congregate for the after party. We got so much stuff. I feel like a large portion of this room was just taken up by this package, and everyone was like, "What's in the box?" And I was like, "Well, I haven't opened it yet." And they're like, "Why? What's in there?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know." And they were like, "Are you gonna open it?" I'm like, "Yeah, on Tuesday, on the live. I'm not gonna open it before then." So everybody's wondering what was in that box. Sarah came in. He was before when I was filming, and he was like, "I'm gonna need you to tell me what's in the box when you figure out what's in the box." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "I have to know. It's huge. It's been here for 2 days." And I was like, "All right. We'll let you know when I find out." And I get to go in there and tell him it was about 70% coffee. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Great. I'm sure that'll be his reaction." So now I'm serious. If you want to go in the kitchen right now and open that cabinet, I guarantee you there's still, because I still have the other bags in there. They're not empty yet. They were just getting there. So now I have
That's fine.
So much coffee. I'm excited. I get to try all the things.
We get to do flights later.
Yeah, we're gonna do flights later. It's gonna be super fun. And I've had a very stressful day. Mainly because I had to go to the chiropractors like this. And they were like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "You look different." And I was like, "I do some strange things for the internet." And I didn't really elaborate beyond that. So I don't know what my chiropractor thinks. Thank God there was nobody else in that office today, other than the workers. I'll have to give you reviews on the redacted. Will do. I can give you reviews. Love doing coffee reviews. I should start making that a thing, but I always, like, I'm always in the moment when I'm making coffee, and I never think to film it, and then the time passes, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't film any of that. Which happens routinely all the time. Coffee ratings will do in the redacted. We'll have like a meeting later to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
I still have boba tea over here.
Oh, I finished mine already.
I actually didn't even make coffee before the live like I normally do, because me and Dad went and got boba tea, and now I just have a thing of water over there and this boba tea. So it's probably fortunate, seeing as I'm going to be drinking a flight of coffee later.
Yeah.
But I did eat before anybody asked. I ate and I drank things, and I'm hydrated, very well hydrated, and I'm ready to rock and roll when you guys are. You want to read a book? If you're here and you don't know what I'm talking about, this is really unfortunate for you, because this is the time of the day when I read people a story, and if you haven't been here and you don't know what I'm talking about, we read a story sometimes on Tuesdays, sometimes at 8, sometimes on time, and sometimes not, but mostly I forewarn you when we're not. But I read you a story, and it's called Johannes, Cabal, the Necromancer, and we're in the 3rd book of the 5th in the series, so you've arrived late, and that's really unfortunate for you, because I'm not recapping. No, I'm joking, I am. I will recap. But I'm only going to recap the last 2 chapters. Psych, you got to go to the YouTube channel for the full thing if you're new here and you don't know what's going on. Most of it's on the YouTube. I have some audio to work out for the tail end of the 2nd book. And I'm still working out the live situation for the 3rd ones. But those are underway. I'm just having some technical difficulties. So those will be uploaded. I can't say when, but I'm working on them, and I'm doing my best, and I'm just one person, and I only get 3 days off, and I gotta do laundry sometimes. So be patient, and for everybody that likes to listen to those on a loop while you fall asleep, really sorry I haven't updated, but I'll get there. But right now, the 3rd book. We are traveling with the Fear Institute. They're going to look for an old wizard hermit that lives in a town that has been overrun by creatures called womps. And they get there, and there's like no womps, but there's a bunch of bones, and they don't totally know what's going on. And Johannes goes ahead inside this very colossal looking church and falls through the floor and has a chat with a ghoul. And the ghoul has some interesting shit to say, mostly that he should remember Captain Lockery, who was a weird captain that got them there on his ship. He was kind of nice about it, and he had a wooden leg with a guinea pig in it. Are we ready to go, people? Who's not ready? Who needs to go get a smoothie or a flight of coffee before we begin? Or an enema. I don't know your life. Don't laugh, Dad. Some people are doing their best and trying...
I feel like a flight of coffee is an enema.
I mean, I don't... If it's going in the mouth... The point is... No, it's like a cleanse, you know, where you do a colon cleanse. It flushes out your entire system because you just need to immediately shit, apparently. I would think.
Oh,
this is a weird conversation. Me and Dad get into weird conversations when we're alone.
All the time.
This is why Dad doesn't join me for every live. We're not going for a full anything today. We're reading a book, people. Stop it. Stop that. Stop hitting that. Stop. I didn't notice he was doing that until just now. I realized what we were doing. We're reading a book. We're not trying to set a record or whatever the fuck you guys are doing. What are you doing? I can't believe you've been doing this every single live and I haven't noticed until now. Just because I don't look at the like counters. I'm too busy reading all the comments. And I didn't know you guys were doing it until you brought it to my attention last time. And now, look, we're all trying to chill and read a book. And y'all are being weird about it. I was being cool. We're all just chilling, reading a book together. And then y'all had to make it weird. This is not on me. This is on you guys and your weird obsession with the like button. Is something you want to say?
I ain't saying nothing. I'm keeping my hand away from my phone so you don't yell at me.
Here we go. Cool. We're all going to read a book together, like a book club. And a bunch of people were pressing the same button on their phone over and over. Where's my bookmark? Had it and it's gone. Where'd it go? Oh, it's at the... Oh, it's that we're going to end. It's where we're going to end. I actually need it right now. Thanks. All right. And for whoever keeps wanting to know what page we're on and what chapter we're on chapter 9. In the book I have, it's page 165, just so you're aware. And I'll let you know at the tail end of the chapter what page we're on and where we're at. Also, hi from Canada. Is that the Canadian flag? I can't see from here. Yeah. The icon's teeny tiny.
Most definitely.
Oh, sweet. Hi. Glad you're here. We're reading a book. You're going to be real confused if you haven't been here before. You just learned how to do it the other day. Quit pressing it. We're all reading a book. We're going to read a book where everybody's having fun. Okay. We're at a 2, right? 2? Nobody, new people aren't going to know what that means either. 2, we're good? Am I good? Sound check? So I'm like, we're good? Okay, cool.
Getting 2s.
Sweet. Chapter 9, in which a hermitage is discovered and a great terror revealed. The others were on the point of standing in the wrong place and falling through into the underground chamber when Johannes Cabal said, "Step back from that pew, please. It is the beginning of a short, if entertaining, ride into the mysteries of the temple cellars." They turned to see him standing in a doorway behind them, beating dust from his clothes. "We thought..." Cord stopped himself. Bosey, however, had no such form of manly internal censor. "We thought you'd been got by it, or something. Oh, Mr. Cabal, we were so worried. I can't tell you." "I think you just did," said Cabal, unsure whether to be amused at their childishness or offended that they thought he couldn't look after himself. Later, he would realize that he had actually been neither of these things, but instead pleased. "Did you see anything else outside?" "No," said Hulk, straight to the point as always. "No wumps, and no sight or sound of whatever killed them. Maybe it lost interest." Cabal shook his head. "No, whatever else it is very single-minded. It knows we're here now." He looked pointedly at Bosey, who blushed. "And it won't stop looking until it finds us and kills us." "It is curious that it is so precise in the way it kills," said Shadrach. "Not only dismembering its victims, but always making a point of crushing or piercing the skull to prevent a new womp infestation occurring. For something possessed of such Herculean power," and here he gestured at the pathway of shattered walls through the temple, "it shows remarkable precision in some of its acts." "It does," agreed Cabal. Seen in that light, however, the dismemberment was a strange embellishment. It seemed vengeful and petty, where the skull-breaking was pragmatic and sensible. Still, conjecture was of little use when based upon such a paucity of data. "We should move on. The sooner we can find this mysterious hermit and get clear of the city, the happier I think we shall all be." There were a few nods to his words, largely from the mercenaries. Cabal picked up his bag from where it lay beside the treacherous pew and led the way. They continued further into the interior. 4 more smashed walls later, they found themselves in a great open space. The light from Cabal's dead beetle-powered device did not penetrate nearly far enough for them to see the whole place, but the mercenaries lit torches and spread out until limits of the room, at least, were discovered, although the upper reaches of the vast dome within which they found themselves were lost in gloom. Ranked around were scores, hundreds of pews facing a great lectern that rose from the base of one wall like the prow of a rakish ship to stop some 50 feet above the ground. Cabal considered it for a moment. "Either this place has excellent acoustics," he said, "or the priests of old were very loud." "What?" called one of the mercenaries from the far wall. "Well, that answers that question anyway," said Cabal to Cord. "Practical archaeology." Elsewhere, there were signs that the dome had been undergoing renovations when the city had been attacked. Great wooden beams and scaffolding lay among heaps of wood chips and shavings. Shadrach was wandering among them, illuminated by a beetle light of his own that he must have bought independently of Cabal, to Cabal's petty and irrational irritation. Suddenly he paused and looked around the floor by him, patently confused. "Over here!" They hurried to him rather than ran. He was plainly in no danger, and when they reached him, it quickly became apparent what had bemused him so. Scattered among the wooden wreckage were several man-sized wooden dummies, like great marionettes. They were crude and bore no features but for a single eye drilled through the forehead, opening into a brain-sized cavity. Cabal peered inside and then, using a foot-long splinter that lay by his feet, probed inside the cavity. It came out with more wood shavings on it. Cabal sniffed them before letting them fall to the floor. "Ammonia," was all he would say. His brow furrowed, and he shushed Shadrach in an offhand fashion when he tried to speak. Finally, Cabal nodded and muttered to himself, "So that is what I meant." "What was that?" demanded Shadrach. "What do you mean, sir?" "I mean nothing, just yet, Mynheer," said Cabal. "But I have suspicions. Here. See?" By the wood debris there were several clay pots, thick, hairy string handles tied at their necks. Cabal took one up and held it out to Shadrach. Shadrach shied back a little uncertainly. "And what, sir, is that?" "It does exactly what it says on the label." Shadrach peered at it. Indeed, under the dark patches that ran down from the stoppered neck, he could make out a label. He squinted closely. "Wood preservative," he read slowly. He straightened up and looked at Cabal with undiluted bafflement. "Is that important?" "Important? To somebody, yes. To us, it is suggestive. Look how many pots there are. There must have been gallons. But now it's all gone." "I'm afraid I don't follow you," said Shadrach slowly. "I recommend that you do. There's a little time to waste." He put the pot back on the marble floor with a hollow clop and walked to the temple's main door. "Barred from the inside. Of course it is." He shook his head and came back, a rare smile on his face. For all that, it was a predatory sort of expression. "There's ingenuity here, also a terrible oversight on his part, but an understandable one. Regrettable, but understandable." "Cabal," said Cord, "none of us know what you're talking about. Speak sense, man." "Speak sense? I always speak sense. Apart from that time with the mild concussion, yes, but apart from that, I always speak sense. Don't you see it? You've seen everything I have. Don't you know what that monster out there is? There's just one missing factor." As he spoke, he was walking quickly down the aisle between 2 columns of pews, his light held high, looking this way and that. Suddenly he halted and bent down. When he stood up, it was with a skeletal limb in his hand. "Right arm. Belonged to a Caucasian male in his 50s. "How can you possibly—" Cord paused. "Oh my God. Gentlemen," said Cabal, holding the arm aloft, "allow me to introduce you to the object of our expedition to this place. I give you The hermit of the nameless city. He dropped the arm, the bones rattling on the marble floor in an awful silence. And then a terrible thing happened. Johannes Cabal giggled. He felt giddy, ebullient, strange. Something was wrong. Something was terribly wrong at the edge of his understanding, and he feared it. It waited for him, and he knew he could not avoid it. Soon, he thought, I shall be dead. His sojourn into this strange fugue was short, but even so, he was treated to the sight of his 7 comrades in adversity, all wearing similar expressions of horrified bafflement, the sort of expressions they might have worn if he had vomited millipedes while toy trains shot out of either ear. "Look at you all," he said, scorn in every syllable, "gawping like simpletons." "You?" Shadrach was momentarily unable to communicate the full enormity of what they had just witnessed. "Cabal, you giggled." "Which is cause for standing around like moonstruck zebras?" They had all commented upon the zebra's vacuous expressions on seeing a full moon during the journey. Cabal permitted himself the indulgence of a luxuriant sneer. "You do not know me. Do not presume to imagine that you do." It was a magnificent act, for behind the facade he was as astonished as any of them. And more, he was unnerved. He doubted he had giggled since his teenage years. Its sudden reappearance, and at such a fraught time, smacked of hysteria. He had never been hysterical. Angry? Yes, incandescently so, on several occasions, but he had never so utterly lost control as to make that horrible tittering sound. He faced them down until they looked away rather than meet his eye, his stoic aspect dispelling any fears as to his state of mind. He was very clearly a man in control of himself, and therefore they might permit him control of their destinies, at least in the short term. Now all business, Cabal looked around, sidling up and down the aisle, and occasionally pausing to look under pews. "Mr. Cabal," said Bosie hesitantly, "what are you looking for?" "His skull," replied Cabal, without pausing. "It may prove useful." "For what?" asked Cord, but Cabal was not in the mood to enlighten him, and from the looks the others were giving him, Cord decided that it was not the time to press the matter. They scattered and started searching in the same slightly mannered way that one might adopt while helping a stranger hunt for lost keys. After 5 minutes of quiet diligence, Thursh, one of the mercenaries, held up his hand and called, "Here, Master Cabal!" Cabal was with him in a few moments, and between them they dragged out the semi-mummified torso and head of a long-dead man. "Over here," Cabal ordered. "In the open area." They pulled the partial cadaver up the aisle to the clearing beneath the lectern. Cabal, by putting his hands inside the empty right arm socket, Thursh, rather more fastidiously, by gripping the left clavicle. Still, he was glad to let go when Cabal told him to, and stood off to one side, dusting off his hand on the side of his Romanesque centurion skirt for quite a long time afterwards. Cabal, meanwhile, was studying the body. "Evidently he died in the same way as the Womps," he said, carelessly gesturing at the empty places where most people liked there to be limbs. "The skull is partially crushed too, enough to prevent a new Womp spontaneously generating within, but not quite as violently as we've seen previously. Sloppy. Very sloppy." "Does it matter, Mr. Cabal?" said Shadrach, snippy with disappointment and frustration. "We should be getting out of here with all possible dispatch. Come along. If we are quick, we can gain the outskirts by nightfall." "Yes, we can do that," admitted Cabal as he opened his bag and looked through the contents. "But wouldn't you rather learn the whereabouts of the phobic animus?" Shadrach gave a short, unamused laugh. "From whom, Mr. Cabal? From whom? from the dreadful monster that apparently seeks to kill everything in this city. Shall we ask it? Clarify the etiquette in that conversation for me, Mr. Cabal. Do we ask it before, after, or while it is tearing our arms and legs from us? Cabal sighed. Everybody is such a critic. No, I do not suggest that we go interrogate the monster, not least because it is not a monster in the sense that you imagine, nor because it will have little import to tell us even if we found a way of communicating, and finally, most tellingly, because we have a far more immediate and useful source right before us. And here he made a distracted gesture at the corpse while he continued to search through his bag. There was a silence during which the mercenaries frowned even as the penny dropped for the Fear Institute members. "Oh," said Bosie, the slowest to cotton on. "Of course, I keep forgetting. You're a necromancer." This was news to the mercenaries, who all took cautious steps back from Cabal. Cabal hid his exasperation that, even here in the land of wonders, his profession held in much the same opprobrium as it was in the waking world. He did not hide it well, however. "Yes," he said, allowing the S to draw out into a sibilant expression of dangerous resentment. "A necromancer. Shaking facts out of dead heads is more traditionalist than most of my experiences, but it's always nice to do something that harks back to the old school." He removed a small padded case from his Gladstone bag and opened it to reveal several test tubes, each stoppered with wax. "One of these might do the trick," he said conversationally, laying the case to one side. Then he took the head of the hermit firmly between his hands, and with a sharp twist, and the sound of tearing dry skin, muscles and tendons, and the clacking of vertebrae scraping over one another, wrenched it off. He turned away from the hapless torso, placing the head on its stump to glare eyelessly at him. "There," he said, pleased. "Much more convenient." How much will this thing be able to tell us?" Shadrach was as fascinated as he was appalled. That Cabal was a necromancer they had known all along, of course, but they had not been anticipating him actually having a need or an opportunity to practice his skills while in their company. One may travel with a slaughterman from a knacker's yard for the knowledge he has on a related subject, but one does not necessarily expect him to fish a poleaxe out of his jacket and use it on a passing horse. This was the scale of the dismay Cabal's companions felt as he sorted through test tubes and prodded the dead man's head as if it were a potted plant.
I'm not doing the tippy-tappy.
Back in the real world, next to nothing. I would expect the procedure to fail. If, against all expectations, I actually got a reaction, he would probably just discuss his latest breakfast or his favorite color or what a splitting headache he had. Here, however, things are generally more puissant on the thaumaturgical side. There we go. I have hopes, but we shall see. And so saying, he flipped the wax seal off one of the test tubes using his thumbnail and scattered the contents over the head. The fine powder, blue-gray, with tiny flickers of reflected light from the minute crystals within the mixture, fell upon the desiccated scalp with all the magical effect one might ascribe to a test tube full of powder paint. And it sat there, besmirching the dead man's brow to no obvious purpose. Cabal rocked back onto his haunches and regarded the head with evident disappointment. Perhaps I overstated my case." He frowned and then said, "Ashmar Kassir," in the spirit of an experimental optimism. It was, in vulgar parlance, a magic word, and had its uses in a few of the less impressive feats of necromancy. It was, however, of roughly the efficacy of abracadabra when applied to anything greater, such as the matter currently at hand. The powder burst abruptly into a brilliant, shuddering blue-green light amid a thick cloud of rising fumes within which shapes writhed and contorted. Everybody else was so busy jumping backwards and swearing volubly in surprise that nobody noticed Cabal fall from his hunched crouch onto his ass and swear too, albeit in much a pithier fashion. Things had gone from very disappointing to almost unbelievably successful in the time it takes 8 men to be violently surprised, and Cabal did not know whether to be delighted or horrified. Cautious exploitation fell somewhere between these extremes, and he settled upon it quickly, gathering himself into a crouch over the head once more, and saying in the no-nonsense tones of one who has dealt with the dead before and isn't about to take any back chat. "Speak to me, you who once knew this face and this skull as his own. You will speak to me, I command you. I draw you back from the shadows into the sight of men once more and compel you to speak." "All right," said the head. There was more swearing and jumping back from the spectators. Cabal ignored them and demanded, "What is your name?" "My name?" The head did not move its jaw. It did not move at all, but they all heard the voice as clearly as if a living man stood before them rather than a decapitated head, and the scalp aflame with unnatural eldritch fire. "I am Arcusides. Who are you people?" The voice altered in tone and volume slightly, as if an invisible speaker was looking around as he spoke. "I came out here for a bit of peace and quiet. Why can't you all just leave me be?" "I assume you used to live in Johannes," said Cabal. "And what if I did?" "In a tower in the north of the city. I believe you sold it to an evoker of dubious reliability." "A bloody fraud, you mean? Still his money was good." The head faltered, and when it spoke again, its tone was suspicious. "Who are you? You know too much of my business." Bosie said in a quiet and somewhat tremulous voice, "Aren't you going to tell him he's dead?" Shadrach and Cord shushed him immediately. "I have a question or two that only a man of your great wisdom and knowledge can help me with. Then, sir, I shall be delighted to leave you to enjoy your hermitage." The head of Arcusides was not about to be distracted so lightly. "How did you get past the womps, eh?" "We traveled into the city by day. We are aware of the risk." "Risk? Ha! Not for much longer. I've had enough of those 9-legged bastards a-creeping and a-crawling around the place. You can hear 'em at night, you know, still trying to get in. Lucky they're as thick as they are filthy. Still, when I'm done with them, they'll be sorry they ever bothered me. Do you want to know what I'm going to do, eh?" "At a guess," said Cabal, growing bored with the dead man's egotism. "You have parlayed your knowledge of the curious foibles of sinew wood, the same knowledge you used to make that remarkable prosthetic leg for Captain Lockery to create homunculi as your helpers. They were then used to bring substantially larger quantities of material in from the nearby sinew wood." He turned to the others and added in an undertone, "which you recall grows by the Lake of Yath, according to the redoubtable Lockery. Then," he returned his attention to Arcusides, such as he was, "from these long beams you created a weapon to prosecute a war of extermination against the womps. You trained the Dref rodents to hunt and kill, to tear away the limbs of their targets, which may have started as a necessary way of immobilizing creatures, but was allowed to descend into petty sadism, and then to damage the skull to prevent any more womps coming into being." He sniffed, drew a handkerchief from his breast pocket, and blew his nose. "That's just a guess, of course," he concluded as he put the handkerchief away. The head was silent for a long moment, the only sound being the gentle growl of the supernatural flame. "Bit of a smart-ass, aren't you?" it said. "You have no idea," said Shadrach. "Yes, I've done all that. I've got the Dref trained, and tonight they're going womp hunting. I can hardly wait. By tomorrow morning the streets will be full of womp legs all over the place. That'll teach 'em, the ugly bastards." Bosey went to say something, but Cabal quelled him with a hard stare and a raised index finger. "All very ingenious," said Cabal to Ercucides. "I am sure it will go swimmingly. In the meantime, however, perhaps you could assist me with my little problem. I promise you we have no desire to linger here, disturbing your peace." The head sighed heavily. "Oh, if you must, go on then. What is it?" "We seek something that goes formally by the name of the phobic animus, but you may know it by some other name. It is the spirit of fear, the epitome of terrors. It dwells somewhere in the dreamlands. Do you know where we might find it?" You seek the spirit of fear?" The voice of Ercucides spoke slowly, disbelief evident in its tone. "Phobic animus! That is a good name." "Thank you," said Bosey before being punched in the arm by Cord. "You are fools to seek it. You will all surely die." "Yes, well, be that as it may," said Cabal, trying hard not to retaliate with a comment upon Ercucides' own current state. "The fact is that we still need to know where it is. Can you help us?" He paused, but the head said nothing. "Oh, great and wise philosopher," he added flatly, an unconvincing attempt at flattery and shameless buttering up. Being dead, fortunately, had done nothing for Ercucides' perceptiveness, and when he spoke next, it was with unwarranted smugness. "Oh, I can tell you where to seek it, all right, but whether you will want to, now that is another matter." Cabal bit his tongue and consoled himself with a mental image of punting the recalcitrant head clean across the temple with a well-placed kick. "Quite so, O celestial sage, but let's assume that we're going to ignore all warnings and go anyway. Where might we find it?" "The frozen heart you seek," continued Ercucides, plainly enjoying saying sooth so much that it was affecting his sentence construction. "Look you to the distant island of Mormo, deep in the Serenarian Sea, for it is from the sail roads of mortal men. Unseen it is by living eye, unmarked it is in book or chart." "Hold on," interrupted Cabal. "Do you mean to say that nobody knows where it is?" The head paused a trifle testily. "Far it is," it repeated, "from the sail roads of mortal men. Unseen it is." "Annoying it is to hear you talking in such a ridiculous fashion," retorted Cabal. "To get straight to the point, you don't know where it is. Nobody knows where it is?" "The frozen heart you seek," Ercucides said, starting from the top. "Look you to the distant island of Mormo." Yes, I got that gem of information, but knowing the name of the place is not of much help if I cannot then look it up in an almanac. Where is the verdammt island of Mormo? And if you say it's deep in the Serenarian Sea, I shall not be responsible for my actions. "The location of the island of Mormo is unknown and unknowable, a secret of the gods themselves, and one that they guard jealously, for how much of the adoration of their worshippers comes from fear, but," Ercucides added quickly, for he had heard Cabal's grunt of hot exasperation and had suddenly experienced a psychic glimpse of a possible future that involved traveling at a great speed and height across the temple to smash into the wall. "But that does not mean the island is unachievable. Once the great sorcerer Hepseth of Gothoth was minded to seek the island, not for the frozen heart, but for the great weapons that were said to be stored there by the gods, against a future in which even gods may war. With even a single such treasure, none would stand against him, and even the gods would fear him, for he could strike them down with their own weapon. It was a fine plan, but a vain one, for he did not consider everything that might befall him before he gained such a weapon. He bragged that he knew how to reach Mormo and spoke of a 7-sided gate that would guide the way. And then, nothing more is known. Arcusides managed to give the impression that he was shaking his head without moving an iota. That is all that is known. Golthoth. Cabal drew his notes from his bag and flicked through them. Oh, by all that is holy and many things that aren't. I feared as much. We must go back the way we came, and... He was silent for a moment while he read some more, and then he shoved them back into his bag with an expression of violent exasperation. The Brothers Grimm can have this abominable place, he said finally, when his temper was under some tenuous form of control. And I hope it chokes them. He replaced the test tubes in their case and then in the Gladstone. We should make our plans to escape this place, he said quietly. Something colossal, wooden, and remarkably dangerous this way comes. My Colossus, said Arcusides, you are mistaken. It has not yet been animated, and even when it is, it will obviously not attack men. That would be ridiculous. I have trained the drafts to attack only womps. Cabal picked up his head and looked into the gaping eye sockets. Sir, he said, your training techniques leave something to be desired. Arcusides faltered. What happened just then? The floor! Where is the floor? Why can I not move? He sounded curious and inconvenienced rather than scared, as if a rather outre practical joke had been played upon him. Why can I not see? Ah, said Shadrach, entering his professional mode, in which he was adept at dealing with the recently bereaved and those deep in denial. You're dead, said Cabal, whose professional mode employed a very different set of skills, even if they also applied to the dead. Your creation pulled off your arms and legs, threw them around the place willy-nilly, then cracked your skull. Look, on the bright side, it didn't damage your head anywhere near as badly as it had those of the womps we've seen around the city. I think the giraffes may have been gentler with you because you had looked after them and trained them. You speak nonsense, man, cried the head. I taught them carefully. I even wore a womp costume I'd made, so... Oh! Arcusides thought about it for a moment, during which the others looked uncomfortable and somewhat embarrassed. Finding out that one is a decapitated head is a private sort of experience. No! They wouldn't misunderstand what I meant. They couldn't. They would, they could, and they did. They were probably a little bemused that you wanted them to kill you, if they even understood that that was what they were doing, but training is training. They saw a womp, they also saw a man, and gained the impression that you wanted both species dismantled on sight. You're talking to me at the moment only because I am a necromancer. You can work out the ramifications of that for yourself. Oh, well, this is just wonderful. Arcusides' tone indicated that no, it wasn't. I left Baharna in the first place to get some peace and quiet. Sold my tower and came here. I knew there would be womps, but I thought the place was stripped of its population without bodies to spawn from. Just how many womps can there be anyway? Hundreds! That's how many. Hundreds! All that fiddling about with drafts and sinew wood and creosote for what? So the little bastards could pop my limbs off and cave in my skull? Cabal had had enough. You want peace and quiet? He asked, and then opened his bag, dropped the head inside, and closed it again. Arcusides' complaining stopped. Cabal stood, hefting the bag to analyze its new weight, and found it acceptable. He turned to find the others looking at him with a variety of expressions, none of them admiring. What? He asked. You've put his head in your bag, offered Shadrach after some hesitation. So I have, agreed Cabal. How astute of you. Now, he turned his attention to Hulk. Sergeant, we really should be getting away from this temple now that our business here is concluded. This idiot's womp-killing machine, here he illustrated to This idiot was, by holding up his bag, "We'll certainly return, even if it doesn't know we're here yet. This is familiar ground to it. We must leave before it gets bored tearing up the city looking for us and comes home." Given the likelihood of Cabal's hypothesis and the generous amounts of evidence for what they could expect if they were discovered, the general consensus was to stop being appalled at what Cabal had in his Gladstone and to get out of the city as quickly as was safely possible. "Guess so," Holt called out to one of his men. "You're the quietest. Go out and scout the area around the breach wall. If it's clear, we'll head for the buildings over yonder. They're close together and should give us enough cover to hide from as we move." Gesso did not seem pleased to be delegated to the rank of forward guard, but he was a disciplined soldier, and besides, Hulk was right. He was light on his feet and could move like a cat when necessary. They moved as a group through the fallen internal walls until they were close by the outer breach. It was indeed getting dark out there, and all the stumbling around inside the temple had eaten away at the time more quickly than anyone had realized. They hid in the deepening shadows around the hole in the wall, and Hulk gestured to Gesso to scout the area outside. Gesso made to draw his sword, hesitated as if realizing how useless it would be against the man-made monster they knew was out there, then drew it anyway. If he was going to die, he could at least die with a sword in his hand. He crept close to the lintel formed by the shattered blocks and paused there, looking left and right. He scanned the visible part of the square and the buildings at its edge, the painfully distant buildings that might be their only refuge, and then moved forward, silent and graceful. He slid across the broad stone surface of the broken block like a shadow, and all those observing were in the process of being impressed when a great claw came down from above and snatched him out of sight. "Oh, dear God!" cried Shadrach, and outside they heard Gesso's shout in surprise, then roar with rage, and then he screamed, a high-pitched cry of mortal terror and disbelieving horror. A moment later his arm fell onto the stone, the hand still held in the sword. "Oh, dear God!" cried Shadrach again, but this time it was more like a sob. "What shall we do? Whatever shall we do?" Cabal slapped him hard, perhaps harder than necessary, but he felt he deserved a little recreation. "You can stop blubbering like a child, for a beginning, Shadrach," he snapped. "Sergeant, my analysis is that if we stay here, we shall all suffer the same fate." A leg fell wetly on the square 100 meters away, a long trail of blood splashing down after it, as Gesso. "Agreed?" "Aye, Master Cabal," said Hulk. "It's a desperate business, and we won't all make it." "What?" said Bosie. "What? What is he talking about? What are you talking about, Sergeant?" "He means," said Cabal, slinging his bag on his back with the aid of a black sash he had bought in Baharna for exactly this purpose, "that some of us are going to die when we run for it. We must move now, while that thing is absorbed in dismembering Gesso. Get out there and scatter. Head for the buildings as quickly as you can." "Well, come on." He drew his sword and rushed at the breach. And that's chapter 9. We have reached a stopping point, which is good, because I'm thirsty, and I ran out of boba. How is everyone? Are you all doing okay? Are you all still with me? What's happening? It's just all the bubbles. I need to get these bubbles out. Stab me. Nope.
No.
No.
we will cut the top open.
I want my bubbles.
Did you get popping bubbles?
No.
Oh, okay.
I gotta get my bowls. I gotta get my bubbles out. How we doing? How you feeling? Is Wi-Fi iffy? Is that for everybody? Who's all got a storm going on right now? Yeah, we're just like, what are you talking about? We're gonna ask the monster? He's like, did you all forget that I went? And they were like, oh, oops.
That's a great go.
Trying to get all my popping bubbles.
That's good.
Is it? I didn't notice any connection issues, but I could be mistaken. We also had a storm here earlier, so I'm not sure. You got called in the work? You're at work right now?
No, they called in.
Oh. I wonder if it's me then. There's connection issues on my end. It doesn't say so.
I didn't notice any.
You didn't notice it flicking in and out?
No.
I am confusion. I do not know. It's weird that so many people are having connection issues and it's not telling me I'm having connection issues. Because I am the common denominator. I will always be the common denominator. So it's extremely suspicious.
I'm not reading anymore. I can move stuff and move around without causing a ruckus.
Yeah, you can move stuff if you need to move stuff.
Well, I
There's a lot of stuff.
Reading.
There's a lot of stuff over here. I got you.
Distractions.
I understand. I appreciate it. So, Rose contacted me about their theory, and if you have a theory about what's going on and who the ghoul is and what's happening, or anything suspicious, you can message me directly, and I'll confirm it for you if you want. But Thorny sent me their theory. And they were right. So if you also think you're right, and is it freezing? It says I'm green, man. What is going on? Are you having trouble?
Mine hasn't been freezy face at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it says I'm green up there. There's a light.
Yeah.
It says I'm green. And normally it'll go to like yellow or red or the live will cut off.
Like last time I was over here post December 11th. And we all had no Wi-Fi, no interwebs.
Yeah. Your internet is fine. Okay. I'm like wondering if it's me or not, but it's not telling me it's me, and normally it tells me when stuff's bad. Maybe everybody needs to restart. Thank you, Swift Blood. We haven't even gotten to the cats yet. I'm so excited. So if anybody has any plans for cats, that they also want to send me those, you can send me your plan for cats. I like knowing your plan for cats. Someone said their plan for cats was to keep them, and I don't know if that would apply in this particular environment, but you could try. I'm not saying you'll live, but I am saying you can try. But let me know if you think you know what's going on and you want to at me about your theories. I would love to hear about your theories and your plan for cats if you have one. And If you don't know what the plan for cats is and you're new here, well, that all depends on your plan for cats. Yeah. Yeah, remember to send me all your theories. Can you do me a favor?
What's up?
Can you hand me that beaker?
I got you.
I need my beaker. It's got water in it.
I got you.
It's for drinking, not for chemistry. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. To help.
I finished my boba tea and now all I have are poppers. And it's not like...
It's not the same.
Yeah, I gotta be able to drink something while I'm reading. Is everybody, apart from the Freezy issue, I'm not sure what's going on with the Freezy issue. So a little bit concerned.
Grey Ghost.
Let me see this. Do I hold the button down?
Yeah.
Like I did with mine? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't had it in a long time.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I brought my spare with me. Because I figured it would just... As soon as you hit it, it's fine. It's gone for a little bit.
What's Aaron's alter ego where he's like his uncle and he wrote a mystery that's really bad?
God.
And he's like, buy my book. Like this pipe gives me big.
Aaron's alter ego.
Yeah, Aaron's alter ego vibes. I can't remember his name right now.
Another guy.
Jeez. You know what I'm talking about, though.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know if anybody in chat will get that reference, but if you do, congratulations into a little bit of a window with what me and Dad do in our spare time.
Yep. I still have the bow on, too. You should be proud of me about
Grey
that.
Ghost. That's what's in here. It's like Earl Grey tea.
With lemon and
With
cream.
lemon. It's really good, and I haven't had it in ages because I refuse to go into the shop that sells it. But I like the flavor. I just don't like going in there. They're jerks to me.
You're out of Lexington.
Yeah, I know. Because I used to work at the one in Owensboro.
No. This company.
Oh, no. I meant the shop.
Yeah, the shop is trash.
Yeah.
I don't buy from them.
Yes, that is the flavor we were talking about. It's called Grey Ghost, and it's really good. And I know you're, like, allergic to nicotine, so...
There's a nicotine-free option.
There is technically a nicotine-free option. I forget that exists. Because I'm just like, why would you vape if you didn't smoke? But...
Because children are weird.
Because what?
Children are weird.
Children?
I have...
Children.
I work with 18-year-olds and they're like, I'm vaping this. Yeah, what's the nicotine level? There isn't any. Then why are you vaping?
Yeah, like, why would you do
Why
it?
are you wasting your money?
I don't understand why you would waste your money on something, like, you know, that you don't need. That's not, like, I don't know. Like,
Cool.
I guess maybe if you really want to call it a hobby, I don't really think of it as a hobby. I think of it as a latent addiction that I regret having. I view
it as
I smoked cigarettes when I was younger, and so I did this to quit, and my breath doesn't smell as bad, and I don't constantly smell like smoke, and I like that. That's a huge benefit for me. So that's why I do it, because I still have like a nicotine problem. But I don't want to smoke cigarettes because cigarettes are gross now. And I don't think I could. I think if like the option were taken away, I probably wouldn't do anything. Like if the only other option was cigarettes, I think I would just not smoke anymore. Like if they took e-cigs away, you know what I mean? I probably wouldn't anymore because I tried to smoke a cigarette maybe like a year and a half or so after I had quit and was vaping like full time and not like a job, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And I tried to smoke a cigarette again and I got sick halfway through the cigarette. And I was like, oh, can't do that. Nope. can't make it through that no more. So But I don't know why people would start vaping if you didn't. Because the only reason I started was because I was addicted in the first place. I can't imagine just being like, I'm going to smoke this thing habitually all the time for no reason. Like, then again, I am also the one who got addicted to cigarettes, but that's only really because my grandmother. Not that it was her fault. It was my decision, but I was going through a lot, and she died, and cigarette smoke made me think of her, so I started, and I couldn't stop, and then it was just bad. And that's my sad story for the day. Aren't you glad you came? I can't imagine. I feel like like this is low-key boring for everyone but me. Everybody's like, I'm just ambient noise for people to fall asleep to. Which is cool. I've always wanted to be one of those ocean machines that makes the sounds of the rainforest and shit.
White noise machine.
Yeah, I want to be a white noise machine when I grow up. Don't clip that. Don't clip that.
I mean, I want to be Ron Swanson when I grow up, so it's fine. I'm getting there.
Someone told me the other day, they were like, you're the rare combination of April Ludgate and Ron Swanson.
Noise.
And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to go into K-Pasa and I'm going to order all their shrimp tacos. No, wait, what I'm afraid you heard was a lot of shrimp tacos. What I actually meant was all of your shrimp tacos or die.
I mean, right now I think I have like 8 pounds of bacon in my fridge and freezer. I have a lot of bacon.
God.
And a lot of eggs.
I'm kill for some bacon. I used to get bacon discounts, and I don't get bacon discounts no more because I've been gone too long. But do I still want the bacon? Yeah, because I want to go back to my butcher shop, and I want to get my bacon. But I'm not in charge of the bacon no more, so it's not my bacon anymore. And that makes me kind of sad.
I'm so sorry.
I liked my bacon department. I had a whole bacon. I had bacon out the yin yang. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Just want to give a heads up. I'm meeting with my client in the living room. Your live shouldn't pick anything up. I've got everything shut. But if you hear something sus, your live won't pick it up. I'm not going to be loud. I'm not getting you kicked off of it.
Okay. All right.
I just meant when it's over, if you come through and you hear something, that's
okay.
It won't come through.
Are we sure? Because we can hear everything you say all the time.
I mean, I haven't been talking.
We pick you up all the time. We pick up the birds with both doors closed. I'm just warning you.
Say something in a normal voice. I don't want to get you fucking kicked off your TikTok.
I don't want everyone to hear you on the internet. That's my main concern. I'm less concerned about my account being banned.
And y'all telling me to hear me.
Yo, okay, tell me if you can hear Danky real quick. We're going to be very quiet. Did you all hear that?
Did they hear me?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yes. 2. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How good is your goddamn microphone?
It's very good. We can pick up everything.
Okay. Well, fuck. Alright, I might have to go in the garage. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'm glad we did this. I'm really glad we did this.
It's like, well...
Before I started meeting with my client. Oh, God. That would have been the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Well, because I've recorded audio on this thing before for the YouTube and then gone back and edited it. And I can hear everything. I have to crop out everything. I have to sound repress everything in this house.
Cool. He already sent me money, so I gotta go.
All right.
Stop. All right, I'm going to the garage. I'm glad we did this. That would have made me have to peel off all of my skin.
I know.
Like,
that's why I was checking.
I was just like, yeah, when they come through, I don't want anybody to be surprised. I would have been very surprised. Just imagine Dad bolting in there like, what the fuck are you doing? We can hear everything in here. I don't know what's happening, but it has to stop.
Oh man.
Oh, God. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going into the garage.
I hate it here. I'm gonna go walk on hot coals after this.
I got first aid kit in the car with burn cream.
I'm gonna have to re-record this whole audio. I'm gonna have to re-record this one too. Yeah, it's a constant problem in this house. And I know you guys can hear the stuff in the background because I have to edit out the audio later and I hear it. So I know if I can hear it, you all can hear it. So I frequently hear everybody walking around, everybody talking out there. And I was like, are we sure you're not are we sure? Because I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I think it will pick up. I know what I hear on the recordings. I hear all of the birds all of the time. And sometimes I have to pipe in background music so that I can cut it out because I can't. Yeah, I don't notice it while I'm reading, but later when I go to edit it, I'm like, there's birds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of birds. There's a lot of birds in here. There's birds. And that's all I can hear now. That's all I can hear is birds. So then I pipe in music and stuff to cut down on it or do noise suppression in the background. But it does affect the audio quality a small bit, so I can only do that a little bit, and the rest I pipe in music for. That's why there's music on some of the audios on YouTube, because there's too much background noise and I can't hide all of it, so I pipe music over it. Now you know.
The more you know.
My mic strength is too much. True that. This is plugged directly into the phone. I have more control over it when I can plug it into the laptop and adjust the levels manually. I don't know how to do that on the phone. You're fine with hearing the birds? I am glad you're okay with the birds. And they heard you. They're saying thanks. I just I know that I can't control everything in this house. So if people walk by and are talking organically, I can't just be okay, nobody talk, move, or sneeze in the next 2 hours. Can't do that. So a lot of the time I'm just well, and kind of hope that everybody stays a reasonable amount of quiet. But it doesn't always work out that way. Fun stuff. Man, I'm glad they warned me before they just started doing stuff. That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Before I get it. Yeah, they just completely disregard anybody else's comfort and boundary levels. They're doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't mind the birds so much in case they just start really freaking out at each other. The little bird noises are fine. I can pipe those out. A lot of the time I don't even cover them up if they're just kind of cute bird noises and they're infrequent. I won't even fuck with it. But if they're really loud and screaming at each other and won't shut up and all I can hear is birds, I gotta do stuff to it. Can't even hear the audio. But, well, that's something I didn't know. I don't even know if Dave's still awake. I don't know. I'm not even sure. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's here and who's not and what's happening, and there's a lot of people in this house sometimes. I thought there was somebody else in this house too, but I'm not sure. Apart from you. You're allowed.
I know I'm allowed.
Oh man. Okay, so are we ready for chapter 10? Are we Gucci? Is everybody good? Did everybody get another drink? Did everybody get your cat? Everybody have your cat? Are they here? Are they with us? If you don't have a cat, get a cat. What are you doing? If you have a dog, get rid of it. Replace it with a cat. Don't. I'm joking. Swiftblood is not going to get rid of the damn corgi.
It's a cat. In
It's a cat. It's a cat. It's an honorary cat. It's a cat by association. The Swiftblood's cat is a cat. We're gonna call it a cat now. Swiftblood has a cat. Nobody asks questions.
It's that rare barking cat breed.
I think you meant 7 cats. No, I'm joking. Get a cat. Go get a cat. Find a cat or a dog and make sure they're with you for protection for this next chapter. We're going to need a lot of emotional support animals in the next few chapters. It's going to get real weird. This is the beginning of all the weird.
Do you need Bartholomew?
If you thought it was weird before, you know nothing, Jon Snow. We're here now. It's going to get even weirder. Strap in, folks. This is going to be the shit show. So, I'm warning you now. If you don't like having your entire perception of reality questioned, what are you even doing here? Do you even know me? Why? Who got you here? Did you follow as a joke? What is it you're after? Because it's not this content. Definitely not. I don't know what you're here for. If you're here for cosplay, you're here for the wrong reason. No, I'm joking. It's mostly cosplay. Just not this live. This live isn't cosplay. This live is weird. All the lives are weird. You're gonna hold the mic. I'm gonna clip it to your little paw.
Oh.
Or I'm gonna try to. It won't separate that far. I don't think. You're just gonna hold it. It's just gonna sit on Bartholomew. I got Bartholomew. I got some water. Everybody got your smoothie. Give me a 2 when you're ready for it. If you just came in, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to leave. Because I can't go over this again. I've gone over it too many times, and I can't do it anymore. It's exhausting, emotionally and mentally. 2, sweet. If you don't know what 2 means, you're new here, and we can't deal with that right now. Get out, come back in like 30 minutes. We'll probably be chatting by then, and having a decent, if somewhat somber time after this chapter. Okay. Let's go. You good? Do you remember what happens? Yeah. Cool. Chapter 10, in which there is a battle and Cabal makes it quick. As with many aspects of Cabal's life, charging at a great monster that has been specifically designed to kill other monsters looked, to the untrained eye, like errant suicide. Johannes Cabal, though, was a man who lived a life of calculated risk. He knew, more or less, what he was up against, and he appreciated that, while the Womps were dangerous foes, they were not great tactical thinkers. Hulk had been impressed by their ability to organize an ambush, but ambush predators are hardly unknown, even in the waking world. Ircusides, for all his many and varied failings, had created a device for efficiently wiping out the city's Womp infestation, and he had based his plan on the Womp's observed behaviors. They were cunning, but no more cunning than a fox, and foxes were regularly exterminated by fleets of horse and hound, marshaled by folk with the collective wit of an umbrella stand. Womps had 3 modes: hide, attack, flee. They only used the first as part of an ambush, since being towards the top of the food chain, they had no natural predators. Its use as a defense tactic escaped them. The second was the default, but so simple had they previously found killing that it lacked flexibility. Cabal had no doubt that the Womp's nemesis carried scratches and bites about its feet, shins, and claws, but this was the equivalent of trying to defeat a sequoia with one's teeth when one is not a beaver and when the sequoia is intent on tearing your legs off. Orphaned limbs scattered about the dead city gave mute witness to the futility of that. Finally, there was fleeing. But the 9 legs of a Womp were there to allow easy climbing and not sustained running beyond that required to bring down escaping prey. Soon those 9 legs would grow tired, unlike the long striding doom bearing down upon them. Therefore, Cabal had decided that fleeing was pointless, and hiding would only delay the inevitable. Instead, he would apply himself to the attack, the exact nature of which he would evolve on sighting the Colossus. His forward foot coming to rest on the leading edge of the broken wall, he jumped down, landed on the ground, running and jinked to the left, the direction he guessed the Colossus to be standing, based on the angle of the claw's descent when it had taken Gesso, and the subsequent observation trajectories of his limbs. In this, he was proven correct, almost running into a leg the thickness of a tree trunk, largely because it was a tree trunk. He ducked and dodged, whirled, and looked even as he backed away into an undignified reverse skip. Colossus, he admitted to himself, was probably something of an overstatement. To his mind, something would have to stand at least 100 feet tall before it could really be termed colossal. He recalled that the Colossus of Rhodes was reputed to stand somewhere around the 110 feet tall mark, commensurate with the Statue of Liberty, which their ship had sailed past and would already felt like a lifetime ago. Hercules' effort lacked that scale, measuring certainly no more than perhaps 60 feet from the base of its great flat pallet-like feet to the top of its conical watchtower head. The design was innovative, perhaps, but inelegant in the extreme. So, no, Colossus was not an ideal description. Giant, though, was certainly acceptable. It was structured identically to a great wooden mannequin, a larger cousin of the homunculi they had discovered within the temple. The finish was crude. The bark had been sheared from the logs and treated with whatever variant of creosote Hercules had bubbled up in his pots and cauldrons. Here and there, holes were cut into the wood, and Cabal was confident that each was the entrance to a snug little chamber containing bedding of wood shavings and a trained dress. The head had 3 such holes, equally spaced around its sloping sides, which must contain the cleverest specimens, for they commanded the whole by some strange binding of intellects into a single intent and impetuous, a hive mind of hamsters, a gestalt of guinea pigs. Irritatingly, it also gave the giant a full 360 degrees of vision, and when Cabal saw a beady-eyed little face peering down at him from the aft hole, he knew he could expect trouble in the immediate future. He still had a few seconds of grace, however. The giant was just tearing loose Gesso's remaining leg, the right, and seemed to slave to procedure. It would finish removing the leg, toss it away, deliver the coup de grace to Gesso's head, drop him, and then finally it would apply itself to providing the same service to Cabal. He was just formulating a response to this state of affairs when Hulk and his 2 remaining men burst out of the temple, swords drawn, and immediately split up, running for the edges of the square and shouting like maniacs. Cabal was impressed by their professionalism. They had been hired as essentially bodyguards, and here they were, doing their best to distract the giant from their clients, even though it would probably result in their deaths. Tellingly, they were visible to 2 of the 3 head holes, and therefore 2/3 of the fuzzy little committee that directed the giant. The other was the only one who had seen Cabal, but it was promptly outvoted in the "who shall we kill next" stakes. Gesso was reduced to a torso, and his skull punctured with a sharp jab of a great wooden index finger, whittled to a stake at its tip, in a hurried, perfunctory way, and tossed aside, a broken toy. The giant seemed to consider Hulk and Thirsch as equally likely, or at least 1/3 of its mind wanted to go after Hulk and another wanted to go after Thirsch. Since both options were known directly to those thirds, these were the only options they would willingly consider, and the remaining third was left lamenting a lost opportunity to kill the four-legged womp that lurked just behind it. The outvoted Dref withdrew its head and disappeared back into its snug little chamber, presumably to play music loudly and write bad poetry about how nobody appreciated it. Cabal saw the situation changing and immediately rubbed the current list of plans off his mental blackboard in preparation for some revisions. As he did so, he slipped the baldric over his head and left his bag at the base of the wall, his jacket joining it a second later. The best defense was looking to be an offense, and he did not wish to be encumbered when the moment came. That moment was delayed for a few more seconds as the 2/3 of the giant's brain physically blickered, the shoulders of great homunculus shuddering from facing Hulk, then Thirsch, and back again, as the Dref repeatedly failed to arrive at a consensus. Cabal had already arrived at his own decision, proving that 2 heads are not always better than 1. With no apparent trepidation, he stepped onto the heel of the giant's flat right foot, wrapped his arms around the shin, and waited for the inevitable. At last, one of the command Dref capitulated, and the foot lifted, swung forward in a great arc at unexpected speed, and slammed down again, several yards closer to the fleeing figure of Sergeant Hulk than it had been a few seconds before. Cabal saw the giant's intent and committed himself to preventing it if at all possible. A year or two before, he would not have cared, but then he had been a soulless creature. Now he found himself very occasionally making decisions that were not entirely logical. It was easy enough to rationalize attempting to save Hulk. He was a useful soldier who might prove useful again subsequently. Beneath that, however, there was the hint of a shadow of a faint possibility that Hulk had impressed him with his professionalism and competence, and the Cabal did not care to see such a man die while there was any chance of saving him. Then the leg was rising again, and all of Cabal's concentration was required just to hang on to the dizzying rise, swing, and fall. He had the presence of mind to use the fall as an opportunity to shin his way a little further up the leg as it descended faster than he would drop. In that moment of free fall, he was able to shift himself almost a yard up the shin. Then the foot slammed down, and once again he had to hang on hard to avoid losing his gain. He looked back and saw Shadrach, Bosie, and with a notable lack of swashbuckling bravado, Cord, sneaking out of the temple and quickly around its edge, while the giant was fully engaged in heading away from them. Cabal permitted himself a curled lip before looking up. He was glad he was climbing up a giant, not a colossus. Better yet, a giant with insensate legs, or he would have been scraped off by now and would probably be adjusting to life as a sticky patch under one of the giant's feet. The knee was a tad over 4 yards from the base of the foot, by his reckoning, easily attainable in most situations, but not when he was swinging up and down as if he were on a demented carnival ride. Cabal, who had briefly run a demented carnival, knew this to be a reasonable simile. By his reckoning, he could reach the knee in 2 more strides, providing he exerted himself and did not fall off. Unhappily, Hulk was no more than 2 strides away. Another sweep of the leg, and Cabal was so close to the knee that he bared his teeth with frustration. There was his goal, bored into the leading face of the laboriously smooth barrel hinge. There was another Dref hutch hole. He could almost reach it. Just 1 more. The leg lifted again, but instead of performing a full walk swing, only came as far as its neighbor. The giant was going into a stand, and even as it did so, the torso was rotating on the hips, the right arm was swinging out, and Cabal realized he was too late. "Hulk!" he shouted. "Dodge, man, dodge it!" Hulk was a calm, focused, exemplary warrior, right to the end. Of their charges, he had long since identified Cabal as the only one to trust in a crisis, and on hearing Cabal's cry, he did not look back or falter, but immediately dodged. If he had dived to the left, He might have gotten away with it, but he had dived to the right, and straight into the palm of the wooden hand that was swooping down to capture him. He realized his mistake at once and tried to roll out again, but the fingers curled quickly, and he was held firmly. The giant took no pause for gloating, for what it did through training, not inclination. It derived no pleasure, except that of fulfilling a function, as the left hand swung up in a practiced arc and grasped the first limb it reached, Hulk's right leg. With a sharp tug like a farmer's wife plucking a dead chicken, it tore the leg off and threw it sharply over its shoulder to whirl away into the darkening sky. Hulk screamed, a hoarse roar that faded into sobs when he wanted to scream more but could not draw breath. The great left hand, dripping with his blood and Gesso's before his, swept forward again. For all their practice at hunting and killing, the Dref were still essentially shy woodland creatures, albeit of an unusual wood and a strange land. Thursh's furious battle cries startled the whole ambulatory warren. Nothing they had yet encountered had prepared them for such a thing, and the giant jumped as if another giant had stealthily approached before exploding a paper bag the size of a pup tent behind it. Cabal hung on for life itself as the giant leaped some 10 feet into the air, but loosened his grip as it fell, sliding up its shin and grabbing the splayed upper front of the lower leg attached to the barrel hinge. The impact slapped his face and body hard against the wood, and he felt something give in his shoulder that ideally should not, but he was alive, and he was in position. He snorted blood out of his nose and felt hatred blossom deliciously in his heart for small, furry woodland creatures. Retribution was at hand. Thursh rushed at the giant, his sword held high. Cabal could see that he must have almost reached safety when the sound of Hulk's agony had reached him. He had exchanged survival for peril purely out of loyalty, and in doing so had bought Cabal an extra few seconds. Thursh would probably be dead at the end of those seconds, but that, Cabal concluded, was none of his concern. Thursh made the most of those seconds. He arrived at the giant to find it still in a state of nervous paralysis, analogous to a skittish terrier being rushed by an unexpectedly aggressive rat, and capitalized on this by hacking fiercely at the giant's left leg while swearing furiously like a lumberjack with coprolalia. A real giant of flesh and blood would have been mightily discomforted by such attentions, but this giant, being more like a collection of diligently murderous telegraph poles than anything else, only regarded them with mute incomprehension until the initial surprise dissipated, and it noticed that Thursh had more limbs than was permitted locally. Ircusides had considered the possibility of too many targets to deal with concurrently, and had provided the Drefts with a simple but useful tactic to give themselves a little leg-plucking time when challenged. With a fast side-swipe, the giant's left arm swept down and out of the darkening sky, and Thursh was suddenly traveling backwards much faster than he had charged, and doing it a yard off the ground to boot. Its immediate situation thus simplified, the giant was returning its attention to the fitfully struggling Hulk when part of its group consciousness reported that something was peering into its chamber, and asked what the standard operating procedure was for such an occurrence. The 3 head Drefts were considering how to respond to this, when the reporting Dref added a slightly panicky addendum to the effect that the face had gone, and now a snake, or possibly a limb, yes, definitely a limb, one of the ones without the foot on the end, was in through the entrance hole and was tipped with something shiny and pain, 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 and at which point the reports stopped and the Dref Brains Trust was left fairly sure that this was a good thing, as obviously the problem had gone away. Until they noticed that the group consciousness was definitely a member short, and why were they tilting dramatically to one side? Cabal withdrew his hand from the Dref hole on the front of the right knee and examined the dead animal impaled on his switchblade. Not a zoologist by training or disposition, his examination was perfunctory and finished with him tossing the corpse away with the same dismissive flick that the giant had so often used to dispose of womp legs and man limbs. He snapped the blade back into the knife's handle and dropped it into his trouser pocket before hastily shinning down the leg, dropping the last meter and running clear, keeping an eye on the giant as he waited for the inevitable. Nor did he have to wait long. There were only so many contingencies rodents can be trained for, and the loss of control over one leg was not on that short list. The sinew wood hung as a dead weight, stylishly carved with 3 points of articulation from the giant's right hip, and all the Dref panic in the Dreamlands would not keep the construct upright any longer. With some unhelpful waving of arms, the giant fell sideways very heavily, the right side smashing to splinters on impact, the head falling off and bouncing across the square to a muffled cacophony of dismayed squeaking. Cabal had intended to make a circuit of every Dref hole in the fallen giant to introduce them all to his switchblade, but the destruction had been greater than anticipated, and apart from some spastic flexing in the wrecked timbers, it seemed unlikely that it would ever again represent a threat. Thus, when one of the surviving Dref emerged, stunned and disoriented from the head, he made no move towards it, but simply watched it wander in a circle, sniffing the air, and trying to understand what had just happened to it. Shadrach's foot, stamping down hard, probably came as something of a surprise to it. Cabal watched, unconcerned at the animal's death, but unimpressed with the motivation for it. Shadrach stamped on the animal again, his expression one of pure petulance. "Horrible creatures!" he spat. "Disgusting little rats!" "They bear no resemblance to rats whatsoever," said Cabal, tetchy rather than angry. Shadrach's pomposity and pettiness seemed to define him as a person, and neither endeared him to Cabal. If he had hidden qualities, they had been hidden very well indeed. Cabal turned his back on him and went to Hulk. He reached the still clenched hand around the sergeant, just as Osick, the mercenary with culinary leanings, reached them at a run. "I thought the others would find cover before me," he panted. "What happened?" He saw Hulk's terrible injury, and his shoulders sagged with dismay. Oh, by Nodens, not the sergeant. "Thirsch is over there somewhere." Cabal gestured off into the darkness. "He may still be alive." Osick nodded and ran to investigate. Cabal knelt by Hulk. The sergeant was terribly pale and deeply unconscious. Cabal opened the giant's head with little difficulty. Robbed of its motivating force, the sinew wood was just wood, and the fingers swung back easily on their knuckles and joints. He took a deep breath and weighed up the options. Movement made him look sharply to his side. Shadrach, Bosie, and Cord were hesitantly shuffling forward, none of them offering any help, appearing to Cabal's eye to be little more than the oafish onlookers drawn to any disaster. Cabal suddenly realized how much he hated this Fear Institute and its selfless members. "You," he snapped, pointing at Shadrach. "Get my bag. It's by the wall." Shadrach hesitated, unused to being spoken to in such a way, but Bosie made a move to comply. "Not you!" Cabal barked. Bosie stopped, looking quite similar to another stunned Dref that limped by at that moment. Cabal pointed very deliberately at Shadrach. "You! Get me my bag." As he waited, he checked Hulk's pulse. It was weak and thready, and Cabal expected the worst. The blood loss was heavy, and although he had made impromptu knots in the severed major blood vessels, the sergeant's chance of surviving the shock seemed infinitesimal. Shadrach arrived with the Gladstone bag and dropped it by Cabal with ill grace. Cabal ignored him, taking out his surgical instruments and the very few chemicals he carried that might conceivably be of use. It was a loathsome thought, and he banished it as soon as it started to coalesce, but just this once, he wished he were a doctor. That he was not could not be helped. He could only try to apply his skills in raising the dead to preserving the living. He had no great expectations. "I will do what I can," he said in an undertone to Hulk, and began. Hulk did not die that night, much to Cabal's apparent satisfaction and inner consternation. Thirsch, too, was alive, although he had to discard his cuirassier breastplate, which had crumpled under the fierce impact of the gigantic backhanded blow. Better that than his chest, which, while bruised and painful, was at least still where it was supposed to be, as distinct from snugly fitting against his spine, his lungs crushed and heart burst by the new arrangement. Even though the city was now safe, at least until some new horror moved in, the zebras refused to pass through the line of the outer walls. Alsic and Thirsch constructed a litter from bedrolls and lengths of wood culled from the fallen giant, a curiously pathetic object in the clear light of day, and placed Hulk upon it to drag him from the city to where the zebras waited. What was left of gesso that they could find, they gathered up and hauled out of the city too, to be buried in the gently rolling hills below the sinew trees. Thirsch had at first suggested burying him in a small, overgrown garden he had noticed on their approach, where beautiful flowers grew, but Cabal had remembered the ghoul in the temple cellar and intimated to the others that anyone who was buried within the city would not rest there long. He also took with him a block of sinew wood and a captured giraffe, but would not explain why. He strapped the block to his saddle and kept the giraffe in an extemporized cage fashioned from Gesso's helmet and a length of quarter-inch chain that had once formed part of the dead man's sword belt, crisscrossed across the helmet through the holes he had punctured for this purpose. The giraffe sat behind the chain bars and regarded Cabal with curiosity, as did the others, but still he would not discuss his intent. The journey to the city had not been especially rambunctious, or as thigh-slapping as an adventure of a different hue might have been. The city's reputation had done a lot to undermine that sort of ebullience. The journey back, however, had been envisaged as a more joyful event. They would not, after all, be dead, and that's always nice. So the preeminent had the possibility of a total massacre with no survivors been in their minds. However, that none had ever considered a result midway between annihilation and complete success. One man dead and another dying had never been seen as possibilities. On the first evening of the return trek, it became apparent that the hand that had torn Hulk's leg away had carried some contamination from the blood of the womps it had slaughtered previously. Hulk's skin became drawn and wrinkled like wet paper, and beneath the yellowing surface, small bumps moved freely like protozoa upon a microscope slide. It seemed that Hulk had survived one womp-induced parasitic infestation in his life, only to succumb to another. Thirsch and Osik spoke together in hushed tones, then came to Cabal as he watched Hulk's symptoms progress. "Is there anything you can do for the sergeant?" asked Thirsch. "No," said Cabal. Thirsch and Osik exchanged glances, and Thirsch said, "No, Master Cabal, we know he cannot be saved. We mean to ask, is there anything you can do?" "His suffering," said Osik. "The sergeant does not deserve to suffer. What we mean to say is, there anything you can do?" For a moment, Cabal thought that they were asking him to resurrect Hulk after his inevitable death, and he raised his eyebrow, communicating this. No, said Thirsch. "No, that would be wrong. Please, Master, that is not what we are trying to say." But Cabal had already moved past that misapprehension, and now understood their interest. "You don't want him to suffer." "Yes, I understand." He knew they were soldiers, and had likely killed in cold blood as well as in battle before. This, however, was different. "Start gathering wood. We shall have to cremate him immediately afterwards to prevent the contamination spreading or a new womp forming." They left quickly, taking the members of the Fear Institute with them, the latter's confused objections being quickly silenced with barely cloaked threats. Cabal watched them go and went to sit by Hulk. He was deteriorating rapidly, his skin starting to become saggy and threatening to slough in places, his breathing thick and ragged as his lungs slowly flooded. The worst of it was that he could not slip into sleep, but remained conscious and lucid as his body turned into a swamp around him. His eyes, filmed and yellowish, looked up at Cabal as he sat and took in the extent and variety of symptoms. With difficulty, Hulk gathered enough breath to speak. "I didn't want to die this way," he said in a hoarse whisper that bubbled up from his chest. Cabal shook his head. "No." There was silence for some minutes, but for the crackling of the campfire. Then Hulk said, "Make it quick, Master Cabal." When the others arrived back carrying wood, Cabal was already sewing Hulk into his bedroll. "Better it were done quickly," he said, as they stood over him. His eyes were not cold, but they were empty, and when he looked up, at least one of them wondered if they had left all the monsters behind them. "But," said Thirsch, both horrified and relieved, "you said a womp, you said." "I took a leaf from Mercury's book," said Cabal calmly. Covered by the sheet, none could see the thin stake Cabal had fashioned from a fallen branch and then driven through Hulk's eye and into his brain once he had breathed his last breath. There would be no womp cracking its way out of Hulk's skull. They made a pyre and placed Hulk upon it. As he burned and the womp filth in his veins boiled and died, Cabal threw the block of sinew wood he had been carrying on his saddle pack into the flames, and they watched it twist and flex as the fire took it too. It would have been about as large enough to carve a wooden leg from. But that happenstance was now gone forever. When the fire finally burned low, Cabal gathered up Gesso's helmet, unfastened the chain lattice running across its mouth, and let the draft free. They watched it run up the hillside toward the tree line. 2/3 of the way there, a white eagle with lines of black and gold upon its wings stooped down from the cloudy sky and took the draft cleanly, flying away with the unmoving animal in its claws. If it was an omen, it was an uncertain one. Their arrival in Baharna was unheralded. They rode in during the morning of a market day, overtaken by farmers, traders, and lava-gatherers, and the little troop of dusty travelers sitting silently on their zebra mounts drew little attention, or even that 2 unridden zebras followed the column led by their tied-off reins. Their passage through the eastern gate was untroubled. The guard who dealt with them had been on duty the day they left and already knew where they had been. He eyed the trailing zebras, but said nothing. Once within the city, Shadrach concluded their dealings with Osik and Thirsch. Hulk had no family, but Gesso had a wife and a young daughter. Shadrach refused to be taken to see them, but gave the zebras to Thirsch with a fistful of gold and told him to see Gesso's family all right. As the mercenaries walked away, Cord moved alongside Shadrach and said, "How do we know they were telling the truth? Gesso never spoke of a family. We only heard of them after he was dead. How do we know they haven't just taken you for a fool?" Shadrach just looked at Cord with something like loathing in his face. "We don't know," he said in disgust, and turned away, abandoning a dialogue before it had even started. Cabal had noticed that Shadrach had seemed to be aging rapidly ever since the battle in the nameless city on the banks of the Lake of Yath. His hair was graying at the temples, the lines of his face deepening, and now he walked with a stoop. It seemed that the dreamlands were not the only thing that could be physically influenced by the psyches of dreamers. In contrast, Cord was developing a distinctly lean and hungry look, whereas earlier he had only been play-acting the role of a latter-day Caesar. Now his profile was becoming more patrician, his eyes hooded and predatory, and his armor seemed far less of an affectation than it once had. There was something thoroughly rapacious about the way he watched Osik and Thursh carry on down the great market thoroughfare, the string of zebras behind them. It was the expression of a man denied his spoils and already scheming to regain them. Cabal did not care for it at all, and put part of his intellect to the task of devising ways to dispose elegantly of Cord, should he prove troublesome. Having placed an abeyant death sentence on Cord's head, he turned his attention to Bosey, who, for his part, looked vapid and without a shred of malice or machinatory instinct about him, a soft toy in the great department store of life. In short, just the same way as he always did. He seemed to bibble around the dreamlands like somebody at a museum exhibit of how frightful foreigners are. He would look and gasp and be appalled and then go home, have a boiled egg for tea, and be utterly untouched by what he had seen in any lasting sense. Inevitably, Cabal wondered if he, too, was changing in appearance. If the mechanism was one of altered perceptions, then it was unlikely. He was as sure as he could reasonably be that he was of the same mind and worldview as he had been the day that the Fear Institute had first come to call. It's difficult to be objective about the subjective, but Cabal maintained assorted mental checks and balances to confirm that he was reasonably sure his mentality remained recognizable, and that he had not gone inconveniently mad. As Descartes would have been quick to tell him, his perceptions could not be necessarily be trusted. But, then again, if he was so mad that he didn't realize he was utterly mad, it was academic anyway. He would have failed in his life, and that was that. He could just get on with learning to enjoy institutional food and the sure knowledge that electricity makes your eyes go black. Still, things were progressing, at least. They had a faint idea where to go next, to speak with someone who else was probably dead, who might not be able to help them whether he breathed or not, and who might be able to direct them to somewhere that might or might not hold the phobic animus, but which was ludicrously dangerous in either case. Cabal had a sense that the whole expedition had long since taken on the character of certain doom, but was dooming them all so very, very slowly that it was difficult to get upset about it. It was like traveling by glacier to be hanged. True, they had also lost 2 men, but neither had been him, so that was of limited concern. Surviving fragments of Cyril W. Clone's manuscript for the Young Person's Guide to Cthulhu and His Friends, number 3, Azathoth, the Demon Sultan. Azathoth is as huge as anything, except Yog-Sothoth, who is as huge as everything, but you do know, oh best beloved, he's as mindless as... Well, there's the thing, nothing is as mindless as Azathoth, who is sometimes called the Demon Sultan, although never to his face, but then he doesn't have a face. Think of the most stupid thing you can. A flatworm? No, that's cleverer than Azathoth. A rock? No, that's still brighter than he. A member of Parliament? Shocking as it may seem, oh best beloved, far more obtuse even than that. Azathoth is so cosmically stupid that he saps the intelligence from those who see him. Big old chaos beyond angled space that he is. Why, if you were to take the biggest fool in the world to see him, the fool's wits would still steam out of his ears, and if you took the 1,000 cleverest people in the world, their minds would spill into the void like water from overturned goblets, but all their cleverness would not even dampen the burning void of Azathoth's mindlessness. Still, it's fun to try. And we're done for the day.
They all heard pond meow.
Yeah, I figured they probably would. That mic picks up everything.
Oh yeah, and my plan for cats is to be a cat bouncer / cat wrangler apparently now, and to put them in shirts.
You think that'll work for Dreamland cats though? I don't know if that will work.
Normal Felix domesticus, yes.
Yeah, but they're not like that.
Oh, I know. And that poor emo drift. Nobody listened to him. That poor little emo drift.
I just, like, find it really uncomfortable that the first time Cabal is like, I like this guy. I'm going to try and keep him. And then that guy dies. And the first time he actively tries to save somebody, he brings a dref and a giant hunk of sinew wood to make this guy a new leg. And the guy fucking dies.
Yep.
And it's just very uncomfortable to me. And he has to kill him.
Yep.
They're just like, hey man, can you do it? And he's like,
Just kick him between the legs while he's already
cool,
down.
okay. And he's like, also, can you maybe, I don't know, put a spike in his brain before we do it, just to make sure that nothing bad happens?
Do a quick whistle stick.
Just make sure. He legit tried to keep that man alive, and the first person you find out in a matter of time that everyone who Cabal actively tries to keep alive ends up dying. And that's just so much more upsetting given the reason he's doing this in the first place. And you're like, man, you just can't keep anybody alive.
And then they
He tries. He tries so hard.
They wonder why he's jaded.
Yeah. And this is where our fun adventure story starts turning into, like, the last scene of Lord of the Rings, you know? Like, where it's just Sam and Frodo, and he's like, I can't go on anymore, Sam. And it starts to feel a lot more like that, and less like, we're gonna go on an adventure, and yeah, so from here on out, just be warned, the mood is shifting.
Yeah, he's a little bit cursed, I feel, too.
Oh, and you find out why in this book. What a coincidence. He is cursed. You get it.
He's like the Will Wheaton right now.
Chin.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure I figured out how to keep Han from busting in. I just took my shoes off and put them in front of the door so they see the shadow.
I put so much stuff in front of that door. And it never works. Yeah, she'll just push it. Just push it until it moves. Thank you for the roses. I really appreciate that. But yeah, now we're gonna get into, like, sad boy fantasy hours here in the next few weeks. So hope you're ready for it. It might be a little bit more of a downer than you're expecting. And your warning is now. The warning is now. I'm not doing it again. You're gonna be completely unprepared next time. If you don't remember this little speech, and if you're new next time, you're just gonna be fucked. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna be so upset. It's just me actively running off potential new followers because I'm like, don't come in here. Nothing to see. We're not doing anything. You're uninvited. Just me running off every new person that comes in here.
Oh, stop with the sad boy songs. Or if you're going to do a sad boy song, you're going to go like Hawthorne Heights, Ohio was for lovers.
God, not sad enough for this book. It's just not. I have a soundtrack for this.
Evanescence.
I have a soundtrack for this. There's no lyrics. It's just sad.
I feel like the entrance is, what is it? Like when they first start, I feel like that's like a Flight of the Valkyries moment. When they first get in there, when they're dealing with the ghouls in the graveyard before they even make it in.
Give me the track list. No. It doesn't have any lyrics. It's more, whenever I make playlists for like books and stuff, there's normally not any, it's normally not regular music. It's like a combination of like movie soundtracks and classical music and very disturbing violin tracks. It's not something I would share with normal people. It's something that you could read the book to and not be distracted by it, but it definitely makes a mood. You know what I mean? That's what I do when I make a playlist for books, which is why I don't share it. Because most people are like, this is my playlist, and it's like a normal playlist with artists and like normal songs, and it's just kind of like the general feeling of whatever you're reading. No, I want something I can actually read the book to. It's not going to distract me.
Schubert in it.
Yeah, it's not going to be, it's not, it's just weird. It's just something purely that I do a lot. Yeah, I guess for like normal reading playlist standards, like whenever people are like, this is my fucking Harry Potter playlist, and it's not. It's just a bunch of like nostalgia songs, mostly with lyrics that definitely sort of give off the same vibe, maybe, depending on which house they're in. Don't at me, Hufflepuffs. But Hufflepuffs be doing that, man. They just be doing that. And I'm not saying their music is bad, because normally Hufflepuffs have good taste, especially in cookies and in Spotify playlists. But I'm not saying that that's what I would read a book to. You know what I mean? I go for a different thing. I'm not saying every single Hufflepuff, but I'm saying a vast portion of them have made playlists for things. I used to be part of a running group. Anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter. The point is, shut up. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. There was a community. Anyway, we all made Spotify. It's fine. The thing is like that's not like my reading play. I'll make playlists for other shit that's like relatively normal, and then I'll make this weird shit, which when it comes on in the car, people ask me to change it because they feel like they're gonna get murdered. And I've had that happen. You know what? What's that audio from Phineas and Ferb? Something like, it's weird that it happened twice. It's weird that it's happened more than once. About a nickel. Anyway, I would have 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened 3 times. But I had a client one time, I was in charge of like driving them to a location, and so like I was driving them to this location, but it started to rain, and then it started to storm, and we're just listening to this very ambient, like crescendoing violins is the only thing I can describe it as we're going down this one straight shot highway where you can see like a funnel, and they're like, we're going to die if this music continues. They were like, I don't know if your music is causing it or if it's the weather and the music is just bad with it, but we have to change it. I'm gonna have a panic attack. And I was like, all right. So I changed it, but I wasn't happy about it. I was having a great time. I actually really like driving around in the dark, also in storms, with very threatening music on. It makes me feel better. I don't know why.
It's freaking windy.
It's time to go put on a dark, weird playlist and ride down the interstate in the rain. No, I'm not doing that. Do you want to go listen to this new album that I got? No.
Okay.
I just like feeling vaguely threatened while I'm traveling, because it keeps me on my toes. And I feel like if I'm ready at all times, nothing can ever take me off guard. Do with that what you will. But I'm having fun. So... But no one else normally does. Every single time someone's asked me to change it, it's happened with 3 separate people. And they've been like, can we change it? What is this? What are we doing? One was just Moonlight Sonata one time. That was an accident. That wasn't even like that threatening. I was just like, this is just, what do you mean? This is peaceful. And they're like, no, it's not. We have to go. You can't do that.
What part of Moonlight Sonata were they at when they said that?
What?
What part of Moonlight Sonata was it in when they said that?
You know. You know which part.
You know when it drops down deep? Yeah.
You know which
That's
part.
If you're not expecting it, it's a little awkward. Anyway.
Thank you very much for the supernatural reference. I appreciate you. And that has long been my opinion, but I also don't want to give people panic attacks in my car because it's just really exhausting having to calm another person down while I'm trying to drive. I'm having a good time and they're freaking out for no reason. And I'm like, look, if there's an axe murder in these woods, I feel like it would be less likely he would go after the people in the car and not the obvious campers at this questionable summer camp. No, I'm joking. But I just think that I'm in a moving vehicle. I have the control. I can hit anyone who threatens me in the woods at night. I have a vehicle. Anyway, it's fine. But I have a good time and other people don't have a good time. And so I've learned frequently that my idea of a good time is not everyone's idea of a good time. And that's okay. Just still referencing Supernatural. It's like a weird Venn diagram of people who are into Ren fairs, people who are into Supernatural, and people who watch these lives. It's just a weird... It's a perfect circle. No, I'm joking, it's not. But do I wish it were? No, that would include a lot more people in this live. I don't need any more people in here. But I don't know. I'll think about it. I might not share it. You get some of it in the background tracks of some of the YouTube stuff, of some of the YouTube content. The one that I pipe music through, a lot of the time, that is part of it. That's part of the playlist. So if you're hearing that, you know what it's from. It's from my weird playlist that I like to ride around in when it's stormy and dark outside and nobody wants to be around me. So yeah, and if you want to know what that's from, I can give you the album if you want that. If you've heard it and you know that you like it. If you don't know that you like it, I wouldn't recommend listening to it. Your feelings about me are going to tragically shift into a different direction, I feel, if I just give that recommendation and you don't know what I'm talking about.
They're now... Jen and Thorny are now singing to each other back and forth. They're coming to take me away.
I can't say I see all of the comments because it's a little far away, and the ring light kind of interferes. I can't read words that tiny. They're so small. I'll send you the album Crimson.
Danny wants it too.
Denny wants it too.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you guys. I'll send you a couple recommendations for some of the stuff that I've put. Ranging from the first book, where I used some kind of a pseudo creepy carnival ambient music along with like background music, and some of my favorite creepy albums to ride around in the dark and the rain to. You all want it. You guys are nuts. I mean, if you guys want it, I don't know. I'll give you some of the stuff that I listen to in the weird dark hours. I'll put it in the redacted, and then you guys can peruse it at your leisure. Or read horror novels to it. That's what I do a lot. Or ride around in your car in the rain in the dark to it. Preferably when the moon is as close to full as it can be, because then it feels real weird when you're just sort of going all the way down Glen Lily in the dark and you're like, yes, this is how I die now.
Get out of my brain.
Do you do that?
Yes.
I do that all the time. It's so dark. There's nothing out there. There's nothing. There's nothing. And then you'll find one lone deserted barn that's like half falling apart, and there's like no windows and the glass is all broken, and you're like, yes, this is the address that I'm delivering to. Now we commence with the death ceremony. Like, it's just weird. You're like, I'm definitely being called out here to be murdered.
Yep,
there's just one lone old witch that lives on a hill halfway between, what is it? It's like between Glen Lily and like White Quarry, and like up on a weird hill
Providence,
by herself.
Blue
no lights. Yeah, blue level.
Oh my
no
God.
lights.
So
Just
creepy up there.
and it's like there's
that.
always a clothesline with like one lone white shirt clipped to it, just fluttering in a very slight breeze. There's no noise.
Rapidly.
All of the grass is overgrown. There's a fence there, but it has also been overtaken by the elements and is half sunken into this weird swamp. And you're like, well,
this is how I die.
This is how I go. Yes, I understand now. Deliverance. I will see you in Providence, all of you. Like, and then she answers the door, and she's like, you're 15 minutes late. And it's so normal, and you're like, oh, I forgot you weren't.
You're 15 minutes late. Oh, so I'm not dead? Okay. Damn.
That woman's house gets me every time. I'm like, this is how I go. This is my fantasy death. I've dreamed about this for so long. And then I get there, and then I just walk away unscathed. What happened here to my script? My script is gone.
Obviously, they didn't get the copy.
Yeah, clearly.
Rude.
Jeez. You didn't realize you were supposed to murder me? What's this murder house doing here? If you're not going to murder me, who is? Have the soundtrack prepped.
It's just playing like...
It is! I'll leave the door open, too, just to make sure it's still playing. What? Lost funding?
So true. So true.
That's such a weird window into my life. I feel like that's too much information about what I do at night. Be able to throw this on my list. If it's your swift expectant death playlist, that's probably what it belongs on. I don't know any other playlists that I have it on. I don't really have it on any other playlist. I'll give you some weird shit.
That's fucking rude, Jen.
What? What did Jen say? Lame.
Oh yay!
I don't what.
Oh, it's just intending. Oh yay! All caps.
Oh yay. All right. I didn't really think people would be this about it. I mean, you do you, I guess. We'll find out if you're really about it or not. I'll drop it, and you guys can ride around in the dark to it and get back to me with all your paranoid thoughts. I think that's a good, you know what, that's a good bond. We're going to do a trust exercise. You're going to take this playlist that I give you. You're not going to listen to it beforehand. You're going to get in your car. You're going to ride around in the dark. If you have a car, if you're too young to have a car, don't steal someone's car. Don't take your parents' car. Please don't drive if you don't have a license. Don't do that. Don't tell anybody I told you to. But if you're old enough, you have a car, you have a license, and you have
insurance.
Yeah, insurance, and also the capability of roaming around with impunity. You know, like you weren't beholden to someone. You don't have to report back or whatever. You can't just be like, bye, Mom, Dad, gonna go ride around at 3 a.m. to some weird music. But do that. Go ride around in your car if you aren't beholden to anybody. Just ride around in your car for a while. Listen to this playlist. Get real into it. Go, if you know a deserted or rural area of your town, I encourage you to ride around as long as possible in the dark with nobody around. And then get back to me on all your paranoid thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts about life, death, the afterlife, the human experience, any philosophical questions and or introspective thoughts that you have regarding your own mortality or others, please DM me your thoughts and experiences, please. That would be really cool. If you take video or pictures, don't do it while you're driving, but have a fun time, and everybody get back to me. If you want me also to do that, I do it every night. So, do this all the time. Mm-hmm. More than I should. I will. Maybe I should start putting my phone on live and then going to work. And just putting you all up in the dashboard and letting you listen and see what I see. I do that for like 10 hours a night, you know. It gets pretty weird. I get pretty weird. And, yeah, we can all get back to each other on, our respective experiences. And you can let me know how you felt. And if that was, an enjoyable experience for you.
Yes, take us to work with you.
Take us to work. I do have a car charger replaced now, so like nice. I can plug it in. That was like one of my main concerns. Is like my battery would keep dying at work, and I was like, I gotta find a way to keep this charged. Yeah, we're gonna make some coffee flights when we get off here, probably relatively soon, and we'll hop in VC for that and give you our thoughts and opinions. I don't know how well that would work because I couldn't play my playlist while I'm in VC. I feel like I would get sleepy if I listen to people talking too much because I do that with podcasts. I'll put in a podcast so I don't really have to contribute all that much. And then I just sort of like zone out. And then eventually I get tired and I'm like, I gotta shut this shit off. And then I put on my weird music at like 10:30, 11 or so. And then I ride around the remainder of the night. Mm-hmm. In my weird, creepy mood, for no reason. Sometimes I put on, like, normal music, but then other times I put on weird music. You remember that one time Sam came in to the shop and was like, what is someone playing in their car? There's a woman screaming on someone's radio.
That.
And I was like, that's me.
That's my shit.
I was like, that was me. And he was like, what in fuck are you listening to? That was me. That's why I don't recommend things. Because then I get people like Sam that was like, what the fuck did I just listen to? And he was just passing. He was just passing in between the cars and happened to walk by at an inconvenient time by my window.
Oh, God. What was that one song he loved listening to all the time? It's in White Chicks. And Terry Crews sings it.
I have no idea.
Making My Way Downtown.
Oh.
Yeah. So, he doesn't have the greatest choice of music.
I remember he used to listen to like like punk covers of pop music or something.
Yeah.
Because Taylor Swift would come on and I was like, what are we listening to? And he was like, it's Taylor Swift. And I was like, that's not Taylor Swift. What is that? What are we listening to? What is this trash? And he's like, it's not trash. It's amazing. And he would do that like all the time. I'm like, what are we listening to? And he's like, Katy Perry. And I'm like, and he's like, covered by The Wanted or something. And I'm like, I don't know who these people are. But I know you're crazy. And it's not for me. But I respect it. My guy, you're living your own life.
Another child.
What's the count? What?
50.1.
Count on what? 50 what? What are you talking about? Have you all still been pressing the goddamn button?
They have. I have not. I have not since you glared at me. I'm not doing it anymore.
I thought we stopped that. Why are we doing this? What is happening? Y'all are nuts. I see, the thing is, I never knew this was happening until last week. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really think about it too much, because, I'm kind of focused on what we were all here for. I thought we were all here to, like, read books and hang out together, and then y'all are spamming buttons. Like this whole time. Y'all gotta be tired. This is supposed to be like a relaxing time, and I feel like you're taking this opportunity to assume more work than you need to.
Danny likes doing it because they see confetti every time.
You know what? If you're getting something out of it personally...
Yeah, because... little confettis.
Okay, I get you. I see it. It helps me focus. I tried through the whole second chapter. You know what? If you're finding some sort of enjoyment out of this, who am I to knock it? You know, if it's making you feel good, I can't. Who am I to make decisions based on others' experiences? Absolutely nobody. I'm getting existential here because I got weird, and that's my fault. But, you know, just know that if your thumbs are tired, you don't have to do that. You could just, I don't know, watch the program, consume the content you enjoy. I don't really do this for the likes or the follows. I chase off every new person. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even really consider myself to have a platform because I keep chasing off newbies. Almost intentionally. Not really. I just put everybody off with my personality until they leave. But
I haven't left yet.
well, you knew
I'm
me
immune.
before this. You've been here for years.
I'm
and
immune at this point.
yeah, you're kind of just have learned to sort of skate around it, and that's good. You know what? Almost Swift Blood. That almost seems accurate. That's the story of my life. How did I get here? How did I do this? I
don't know. It makes you happy.
I don't know how I got here. Sometimes you sit back and you're just kind of like, man,
shit.
If someone told me 5 years ago, like, hey man, you're gonna make a TikTok. Even just that, if you stop there, I would have been like, I don't really care about any social media platform. I barely get on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't even have a Facebook anymore. I don't use it. It's not even me. My name's in Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tried sending a message to you the one day. I'm like, I don't even know what character it is.
Yeah, I did that
Fuck
deliberately so that nobody could send me anything. So don't do that. You just text me.
I know. I know.
Did that deliberately so nobody would contact me because I don't want messages from people I don't care about or know. And that's all Facebook is just a reconnecting platform for people that you didn't ever really care to know in the first place in high school. And now they've found you on Facebook. Congratulations. Your life didn't change all that much and you still suck. And that's what Facebook is to me. So I just stopped. And I didn't have anything before I did TikTok. I didn't really have an Instagram. I have a Twitter. I never update or put anything on. And like that was it. So if anybody would have came up 5 years ago and been like, hey man, you're going to start a TikTok and you're going to cosplay, I would have been like, you fucking nerd. Like, like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't even like anime or cosplay or cosplayers. And when secretly I like all those things, mm-hmm. I just internalized the fact that I was not allowed to enjoy them. So I told myself they were irrelevant and for nerds. But if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. So I don't really know how I got here, and I'm very confused sometimes. And I'm very confused that people watch me every Tuesday and send me coffee through the mail. What is happening? My throat's locking up. He does, yeah, he's still wearing it. Still happening. It looks like a Jack Skellington bow tie. But yeah, if anybody would have told me this is where I'd be 5 years from now, and they're going to be like, people are going to send you coffee through the mail, and they're going to want to listen to you read about your dumb shit that nobody cares about, I would have been like, well, you just called it dumb shit that nobody cared about, so I feel like you're a little bit biased. But I definitely wouldn't have believed you, so seems fake. I don't know. Good call, Swiftblood. That's why you're here. Keep rolling out the hits. Thank you. I'm gonna need that for a top hat. Okay, I'm not right now. It's
yours, so
I know.
No, it's my bat now. Like, no.
It does seem sus. Oh man. How did we get here? What are you doing here? Are you okay with this? I drag you into my bullshit all the time. I feel like I drag everybody
with you, so
into my weird bullshit. I'm just like, hey, you want to do a thing? And people are like, not really. And I'm like, you sure?
Like, hey, I'm gonna go do a thing. I'm like, cool, can I come?
You sure about that? And then people come and then they regret it.
I don't. I mean, worst case scenario, I get to hang out with Bond, so like...
Yeah, worst case, he gets a cat out of it.
Yeah, for a few hours.
Yeah, he gets to pet the cat.
Yeah. Immediately in my lap when she busts through the door.
Yeah, she does that. I'm getting tired. We're gonna have to go make coffee after this. We're gonna make a bunch of coffee, and we're gonna hop in the voice chat, and I'm gonna maybe be a little less existential about things. I'm going to be a little less introspective and hopefully a little more fun.
Really? Are you trying to rickroll in here, Crimson? What's going on?
Are you rickrolling us right now? For real? Are you
gonna... Right now.
Hey man, we're about to go too. We're not going to stand for being rickrolled in this economy? No.
In this political economy? No.
Yeah, no. Of course. Absolutely. I love reading to you guys. You guys are a great audience. I love all of you. Thank you so much for all the stuff. I got bones. We got coffee. I got a cool mug. We're going to go drink out of them.
Hell yeah.
And then we're going to get back to you on our coffee reviews. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to make so much coffee. Okay.
Wrong lyrics there.
What?
Wrong lyrics, Jen. This is a song that doesn't end. I grew up with Lamb Chop. I'm older. I know the song. I win.
Don't question his authority on this. I've heard I've heard this rant. I've heard it. I'm not a fan. Don't make me rehear it, Jen.
Now she's going to.
You ever got a rant about a song from your dad for 20 minutes? I have.
Dad is right, though. Oh. Hey.
Don't make him mad about a song that he knew from childhood. Dude, you can't do that. You can't do that to Dad. Do you know how mad they get? Not even just mad. They have to tell you everything about the song. Uh-huh. Every historical fact about the song. Who wrote the song, where they were when they wrote it, what they ate before they wrote it, everything about the goddamn song. The point is...
We need coffee.
Yes, we need coffee, and I don't want to hear about lamb chop for 30 minutes, and if I have to, I'm going to be mad, and I'm going to come after you. So, this is your warning. Go to your zombie apocalypse base, wherever you're going when the zombie apocalypse happened. You better get there fast if I have to listen to lamb chop for 30 minutes. Do you understand me? I will come for you. I will find you. I will find your family. I will find your corgi. Don't do this to me. Oh man, I can't see your name. I'm really hoping that's not a new person that is questioning everything about their existence. I can't. Okay, I was like, please tell me that's not a new person. I don't recognize the icon, and I've already ran so many people off in this and every other live that I do. I'm like, fuck you. Only the people who are normally here. Like. Okay, good. I was like, I don't recognize the icon, and all the names are too tiny to see this far away. I recognize you by your icons. That's how I know who's talking. Thank you, everyone who has a vastly different colored icon from your peers. I really appreciate that. I don't get you confused. It's really helpful. Any new person, I'm like, who the fuck is talking? I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then it's always some person that's asking me a random innocuous question. And then I'm like, oh, they're new here. They don't know what's going on. That would be why I don't recognize you as often. Because I can't see your names. You're too far away. But all of your names are like grayscale. And they sort of bleed into the background a little bit. They're just a little too dark for me to see it. And then I see like bold white are all your comments. So I can see the comments normally. But I can't read the usernames from that far away. I only see the icons. So I know what you're saying, and I know the icon, and then if you change your icon, it's really gonna fuck me up. Don't do that. Quit doing that, Sai. You're ruining this community with your constant... No, I'm joking, you're not. You're not. I need to stop doing that. I'm so used to doing that with people who know me personally and are like totally prepared for that. And they're like, fuck you. And then I say stuff like that online, and then immediately I'm like, too aggressive, dial it back. I'm going to give someone anxiety. That was not the goal. I've done that. I have given people anxiety. And when I didn't retract it, I get too intense and I keep going, and then I freak people out. You can't change it, Crimson. Look, if you change it, you're going to have to make the icon crimson. So I know it's you. No, you don't have to do anything. You aren't required to do anything. Do what you want with your icons. I'll figure it out. Even if everybody changes their icon in the same day, I'll get used to it eventually. I do. I have to dial it back so I don't freak people out. We're going to get off here so we can join VC and drink all of this coffee. So I can wake up a little bit and not be so existential and weird, hopefully, within the next 30 to 45 minutes. See, this is what the coffee does. I joke and say that it wakes me up and that I'm more present, but actually what it does is ground me a little bit more, so I'm less in like a weird headspace of questioning all reality and any experience that I have as a living entity. And I don't just fade into the universe, because eventually I'm going to question the very nature of my existence to the point where my material form becomes immaterial just by me consciously forgetting that I have a physical form, and I'm just going to fade into the ether, like that South Park episode. The point is that the coffee actually does that. And I don't have an existential crisis 98% of the time. Now you have an idea to do with your icon. Great news. And with that, we're going to conclude this week's episode of Bullshit. Join us next week at Tuesday at 8, where I read you another story and hopefully don't get super weird about it. Thank you for all the coffee. I'm going to go drink a lot of it, and we're going to have a fun time. I love my bones. I even love this foxtail. I have some plans for it. We're going to have a fun time, and I'll see you in VC after we get started on this coffee journey that we're going to take. You ready?
I'm ready for this flight.
You ready? Okay. Later, guys. Thank you for joining us.